All right, so Cooper Hopkins may or may not be joining me, so I'm going to go ahead and give you this play-by-play anyway, just in case it's just myself. So let's get this starting lineups underway. So for the Calgary Flames, it sounds like this. They're 13-11-3 on the season. It's Elias, Lindholm, Jonathan Huberdeau, Tyler Toffoli, Noah Hannafin, Rasmus Andersson, with Nazem, Kadri, Dylan Dubé, Andrew Mangiapane, Mackenzie Weegar, and Christopher Tanev. It's Michael Backlund, Adam Ruzicka, and Blake Coleman, with Radim Zahora, Milan Lucic, and Trevor Lewis. Nikita Zadorov and Michael Stone will be the backline defense with Dan Vladar starting. And for the Toronto Maple Leafs, it sounds like this as I pull up these lines. They're 17-5-6, second in the Atlantic. It's Auston Matthews, Michael Bunting, William Nylander, Mark Giordano, and Justin Holl. John Tavares with Dennis Mulligan and Mitchell Marner. Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren. David Camp, Alexander Kerfoot, Joey Anderson with TJ Brody and Connor Timmins. That's what I have right now, although we'll see how that's going to change. Pontus Holmberg, Zach Aston Reese, and Wayne Simmons. Again, because of the suspension there to Pierre Engvall, Wayne Simmons will be on the fourth line. It's going to be Matt Murray in net, supposedly for the Maple Leafs. So as we look at the standings right now, you talk about the Boston Bruins and you talk about the New Jersey Devils, and for good reason. They both have 43 points, although Boston has a game in hand, so they got the best record in the league. They're 14-0-1 at home. Do not sleep on the Toronto Maple Leafs. 17-5-6, 40 points. They are 8-3-3 on the road and 9-2-3 at home. And yes, that includes losses to the Sharks, the Arizona Coyotes, and the Anaheim Ducks in that stretch before. That seems like weeks ago. That seems like forever ago. But that's included with all of that, and they're still 17-5-6. You can talk about all of the playoff doldrums from 2004. We don't have to continue to rehash all that and beat up on all the Maple Leafs fans. The point is, over the last 5 and 6 seasons, and you can talk about it from my perspective in the same Atlantic Conference now, the Detroit Red Wings have been in the East now for several years, you're going to have a playoff spot that's already taken out of the two that are left from the Maple Leafs every single year. What's going to happen? It's going to be hard to get in. And now with the Boston Bruins on that same spot with the Maple Leafs, you already have two spots pretty much with 26, 27 games played so far on the season already locked up. So you got Dan Vladar and Matt Murray on both sides. Matt Murray is a 6-1-2 record, 234 goals against, 932 save percentage, and 1 shutout. So this should be a good contest. Again, if Cooper Hopkins does join me, he will get on the rest of the call, but I think it's going to be me, as he was sending me a little bit late message. You might not be able to get on tonight, unfortunately, but I understand with the California time, it's a 3-hour difference from Eastern time, so it's like a 4:15 start for him. So it's kind of hard to do in the middle of a Saturday, but I want to go ahead and get this game because I've been jacked up to bring it to you. I know we've had this one circled on the calendar, so hopefully he can join in at some point. So face-off, puck drop is underway, and the Maple Leafs win it. They're going to go right to left across your radio dial as this gets dumped down the ice. I'm going to turn up this TV here a little bit. As this puck is near the right face-off dot, it's stolen immediately. Big save by Vladar with the right pad, so the Maple Leafs are already testing them early as the Maple Leafs inadvertently knock it back to the defense. They can't keep it in the offensive zone, but here they come again across the red line now as Mitch Marner will get this pass across and now picked up in the high slot as it bounced off of John Tavares. Malgren will try to get this down. Tavares with another wrister right in the high slot toward the left dot. And that was stopped by the pad of Vladar. So he's already made 3 saves. And Toronto's and Sheldon Keefe's squad is going to go ahead and take their changes. So we'll see if Calgary can actually go ahead and take a breath. Tyler Toffoli is going to drop this one here for Noah Hannafin. They're going to pinball this one off of the players' bench as the referee is just taking a seat out there trying to get in action as this goes back to the neutral zone. And Mark Giordano, former captain of the Calgary Flames. Now he's sitting on the first line nowadays. Again, because the defense has been so beat up here for the Maple Leafs. They had up as many as 6 starters out just a couple weeks ago. So as they've kind of banded together, and as Toronto's had a couple shutouts back-to-back of the Stars and the Kings, which is not easy to do, by the way, and 4-0 and 5-0 wins, they've kind of closed down the amount of goals that they've given up, probably about a goal and a half or 2 over the last 7 or 8 games per. and then about 4.5 goals scored per. So Toronto's really rolling right now. And this is a Calgary team on the other side that will go into their road records. Isn't there 3-6-3? I have the exact number in front of me. We'll get that when we get a stoppage. It's not that good. So with Toronto on the other side, this is going to be a stiff test, especially for Calgary, because they lost to Columbus in the back-to-back, and they got 3 games in 4 nights. So Brody hits this off the embankment as it goes back to the line. Nice setup pass there for Nylander, but nobody was home on the Maple Leaf side of it, and I was thankful for the Flames as they try to get this across the red line, but it gets canceled off. Mangiapane tried to get something going on a 2-on-1, and this goes back now to the Leafs. This is an all-Canadian matchup here in Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. That's where I'm watching. No stream. This is just the basic stream on TV on Channel 99 as it is on CBC. So these should be a big-time matchup between these teams as Vladar knocks that away with the goal stick. Again, it's 5-0 in favor of the Maple Leafs right now. Whatever's on the official scorecard on for CBC is not accurate as this one's dropped. Across the blue line side, this could be a break opportunity, but Vladar will come out and go ahead and play this one. He just knocks it away toward the left side dot, but it's still in the offensive zone until Calgary gets a couple active stick checks to knock it down. So Matthews to Sandin and now Alexander Kerfoot as this gets dumped out by Wayne Simmons, and this is knocked out of play. 17-18. You get a look at Phillips here now for the Calgary Flames, and as we talk about here with Cooper Hopkins, if he does come in here, he's the recent call-up. Alec, how are you doing here, buddy? He's the recent call-up here for the Flames. They want to go ahead and get some offense. He's tied for first with the Calgary Wranglers with 30 points in the AHL. So you can go ahead and throw him on the fourth line because, again, you get the wave from Kevin Rooney on that side, so it would make some sense. Now in toward the left side red line as the Flames try to get this through the Scotiabank Leafs logo. And they're just going to go ahead and take a change as this gets dumped down the ice. And we'll see if the Maple Leafs can go right to left. This is blocked, picked up now by Christopher Tanev. Now to Adam Ruzicka. Ruzicka will get this one down as it touches the goal stick of Matt Murray. Almost collided there was Michael Backlund there with Matt Murray as they try to cancel off toward the red line on the side. And this gets picked back by Toronto. A couple dipsy doodles in between traffic there by Tavares, as it's still a battle for the puck toward the blue line side. Now it goes back to Rasmus Andersson. It's the D-to-D crisscross. Andersson will hold, get across the red line, and chip it and clear. It's still pretty much 5-0 in favor of the Maple Leafs right now, but the Flames finally get this in the offensive zone, but they're just kind of window dressing right now. Picked up by the Flames, going to be a slap shot that gets blocked by the Maple Leafs. Now they got to hurry back to the Flames. This could be an opportunity off the backhand. Stopped by Vladar, but a penalty hand is up in the air for tripping. And I think the Flames got a piece of Kerfoot that was pretty obvious. And the Flames are going to go to the kill. 16:04 in the first. Still, Dan Vladar's been tested early. And I'll get another look at this here right now. As you see Mangiapane getting a hit on Marner. That's what they're showing on the replay. Dennis Mulligan off to the races. He might have got clipped in the face. And I still want to go ahead and see who that shot was. That was Michael Bunting. He got tripped a little bit there by Noah Hannafin. And that was called immediately, as it should have been. So at the 3:56 mark, Noah Hannafin going to the box 2-minute minor for holding. That's going to put Toronto on the power play. And yes, they've had this full stretch of play. It hasn't even been 4 minutes in. 82% is the Calgary penalty kill. And yes, it's probably 80 from a 7 of 7 last night in the loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. So picked up Rasmus Sandin. Now Matthews toward the left dot. Going to be held a little bit. Now in the high slot, Rasmus Sandin. Quick shot deflection for Tavares. Good save by Vladar as it was right on the doorstep. It was just blue jerseys in front of the red and white there. Well, Vladar ended up making the save. So Nylander a little patient here in this replay. Moves it to the high slot. And a tip right out front for John Tavares. Got canceled off. 7 power play goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs captain. As this is bounced him a couple escape blades. Falls right to Matthews, but it gets blocked there by Elias Lindholm. Elias Lindholm just trying to play up middle. Nylander up in the high slot. And this falls back on the defensive side for Auston Matthews. So usually what you would have is 4 forwards and 1 defense, and that's what they got right now for Sheldon Keefe scoring. And we'll see what happens with Mitchell Marner. This will cross across the Leafs logo, gives it to Matthews, drops it to Tavares. Tavares has it on the left-hand forehand side. Picked up now as Matthews spins this around the kick flight. Back to Tavares, and now Matthews. In that same dot. Rasmus Sandin looking for a deflection. Here's a breakout pass. Here's a chance off the backhand. Big save by Matt Murray. No call on the other side, but a good breakout there for the Flames. Didn't get a number on that one, but here comes the action the other way. Nylander dropped the Matthews, scores on the power play, and the Leafs take a 1-0 lead. So that's as quick as it happens right there. It was a shorthanded chance for Calgary. It was their first shot on the board, but it was Matthews in the high slot. 10th straight goal scored by the Maple Leafs, and that is no doubt in tune to the last couple shutouts that we talked about. This was Blake Coleman off the shorthanded opportunity, and then it was quickly right to left the other way. Nylander drops it right to Matthews in the high slot, beats Dan Vladar, and it's a 1-0 lead for the Maple Leafs. And when you give number 34 that kind of time and space, kind of shoots that toward the bottom right corner, no chance for Dan Vladar even to get a stick or a glove on it, and it's an early lead for the Leafs. So exactly what you didn't want if you're Calgary. Again, you got 3 games in 4 nights. Again, we'll get back to the next matchup when we get to the intermission part of it. But tough part of the schedule, they should have beat Columbus the other night, and is Calgary taking another penalty. Michael Stone looks a little bit upset about it. The 15th goal for the mustachioed man at 5:04 from Nylander and Sandin. So this is a nightmare right now for the Flames. And Cooper Hopkins, he did message me and said that he might not be able to get on this broadcast. But it's understandable. Again, it's a 3-hour difference from on the California side of it. So I get it. I'm covered on the eastern side of it, about 7:30 right now. Right now, it's going to be another man advantage for the Maple Leafs. The shots are on that side 4-1, but I feel like it's a lot more. You want to have at least 3 to that total for Toronto. I know I've said that a few times already, but it really is the truth. 1-for-1, 2 shots on the power play for Toronto. They're going to try to get this one again, and if they do, I mean, this could be bad right now for Calgary. This is kept in nicely. It bounced off of Kerfoot as we get a little bit of an overhead camera. And this go all the way down the ice. And it's going to be Matt Marita. Sandin, and Sandin will try to go right to left. He's going to hit this one back to Auston Matthews. Auston Matthews is going to get across the Maple Leaf. Picked up. Marner lost it. He was trying to just have Matthews walk right in and shoot the wrist shot again. And that would have been a good design, but it just got knocked away at the last moment as it's all the way back now to Rasmus Sandin. 14:05 left to go in the first. John out here with you on the play-by-play, joined by Alec Nava. I'm always appreciative of that as he does a lot of stuff on the Colorcast and the Twitter Spaces side, although I know the app on the Colorcast side is going away, so I've been here on this side for quite a bit. Picked up now by Sandin one more time as Calgary will get this one back down the ice and across the neutral zone again. John Tavares going to leave this here for Kerfoot. Kerfoot going to get the advantage off of a 3-on-1 as they beat Rasmus Sandin. The puck bounces off of the referee and sent it off dangerously in front. Big save by Vladar off Tavares. And this one goes back now to the neutral zone. Double extra pass. It's Kerfoot for Marner. Marner holding near the really busy part of the left side of the blue line. And now this is picked off by Tanev. There's a drop pass, Dylan Dubé. Dylan Dubé will spin off the forehand as he gets worked off the puck by Kerfoot and then canceled off by a double. It's still busy as it's picked up by the Flames and behind the office of Matt Murray, but here comes Sandin to knock this one away. He's out there with Mark Giordano right now as it's the second-year player, Michael Bunting, although he's 26. But again, it's just his second year, and again, he's getting paid like it. So that's a good thing for Toronto, considering you got all that stuff locked up between Nylander, Tavares, Matthews, and everybody else for Kyle Dubas' squad. And that's what you're going with. So it's a kill here for Calgary. So they've killed 7 of the last 8. And it goes dangerously in front, almost right to the former Maple Leaf and Nazem Kadri. But it got knocked away by Murray as Ruzicka runs into his man. He'll get the pass back across the neutral zone. He can do nothing else but dump it in across the busy right side of the red line. As Giordano plays this one back in between the skates of Justin Holl, down an open wing. This should be an icing. Yes, it is, as Tanev will win the race. 12:18 left to go in the first. It's a 1-0 lead for the Maple Leafs as we get a commercial side by side. I don't think we actually have our first media stoppage just yet. So I will stick with you It's 13-11-3. Fifth in the Pacific are the Calgary Flames. They're just outside of the playoff spot in the West. Toronto Maple Leafs are firmly trenched in the second spot in the Atlantic, I should say. It's 17-5-6. It is the Red Wings, my team, that's just outside of that wildcard spot as they picked up a point against Dallas today in a loss. So Huberdeau tries to hold it, but this goes back to Zach Aston Reese. It's going to be a chip and chase to himself that he's going to win toward the left side of the red line. Picked up and behind the office, and now it's Michael Backlund. Michael Backlund. Stone puts a big hit out Wayne Simmons, and Simmons is up on the fourth line again because of the penalty that's going to be served there, a match penalty at that for Pierre Engvall for a game. As the Leafs will hold now with TJ Brody on the third line defense for Sheldon Keefe as Auston Matthews gets cross-checked. That's right in front of the referee, and that's going to be answered here by Wayne Simmons as he's got a fist right in the face of Zadorov, and Zadorov saying, "What did I do?" But he did it right in front of the referee, and it's Auston Matthews. What do you expect is going to be the call? That's all I can say on that spot of it. So Matthews, they're just showing the replay, and it's just a push and a shove right out in front. We go to a commercial break, come right back. Alec, if you want to get in on this call, just let me know. Leave a message down below. You can jump right in if you want to.
In a world built on dreams, how far would you go for yours?
I'm gonna take it.
Are you ready? You got it. Here's the twist. You have no idea it's next.
I'm gonna make it on my terms, not theirs.
What you waiting for? You ready?
We are gonna be more than they ever bargained for.
Never mind. Here's December 23rd.
At Brady's Drugstore, we pride ourselves on being friendly and easy to talk to. Healthcare can be complex. We want to make answering your health questions simple. To find a friendly location near you, visit Brady'sDrugstore.com.
Gold Speed DiBiase represents.
How we doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, well.
So this is a big game right now. I know you've been doing a lot of coverage yourself. How's everything going? What have you been working on?
It's final season here back where I'm at, but I've been getting things going back here. So yeah, a lot of hockey. Man, have you seen that one Kraken and Kings game, 9-8, the final score?
Yeah, that was about a week and a half ago, and honestly, I couldn't take my eyes away from it. There's been some crazy amount of goal scoring here in the NHL.
Oh, man, I was amazed about that final score as we are getting right back here into action here in Toronto. Yep. Whew. Was trying to catch my breath in that game when I was covering that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So we have a 4-on-4. So I guess they both took Zadorov and Simmons. It's right now as we get an offside entry here for Calgary. And Alec, I know it's one of these situations, but what do you think of the Maple Leafs so far this season? I mean, they've been entrenched and really good. If it wasn't for New Jersey and Boston, I think everybody would be talking about Toronto.
Yeah, for real, considering the play of Matt Murray recently, and he looks like that guy in net. A clear, possibly an upgrade over Jack Campbell, who he let go to Edmonton during free agency.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Jack Campbell's been struggling a little bit as they've had to go to Stuart Skinner for the most part, as this is picked up by TJ Brody now in the 4-on-4. Auston Matthews will drop it now for Nylander as Toronto just going to go ahead and take their time. I've noticed a lot of calculated play so far in the NHL, especially when you get that extra space on the ice. But good defense there by the Flames to cancel off Auston Matthews. It's Elias Lindholm. Going to drop it off for Huberdeau on the slide. Extra pass and the Flames score! Noah Hannafin ties the game at 1.
Oh, what a passing play by Huberdeau to Hannafin. It looked like the net may have been knocked off the moorings, but who knows who may have knocked it off. I'm not sure if this is Murray who knocked it off, but we'll get a replay of this when we get it up. Yeah, it's getting up there right now. So Matthews turned it over the offensive zone. Lindholm. And it's a 3-on-2 rush, I'm guessing. So Huberdeau to Hannafin, the left circle, boom.
That was a good design there, and honestly, it was something that I really didn't even think Alec would be materializing right in front of our eyes. But Huberdeau, no, he loves to pass, although he did score plenty of goals with the Florida Panthers last year. He gets that extra pass across. Calgary ties the game at 1, and I think they really need this at this point after coming to a disappointing result of Columbus the other night as they faced Johnny Gaudreau in Ohio.
Well, and Huberdeau, as you mentioned, he's a pass first guy. He set a new career high in assists last season when he set his career high in points as well. And then the trade happened for Matthew Tkachuk this offseason. As we see the Maple Leafs getting the zone on the opposite side.
So
nice move by Tavares.
Going to be picked up now. Marner going to try to set this one up as it goes back to the former Maple Leaf and Nazem Kadri. Kind of wonder how he feels on this side of it as it was canceled off now behind the net, picked up here by the Maple Leafs captain Tavares, and they'll leave it now for Justin Hall as they'll go D to D. It's still going to be 4-on-4 for 30 seconds as it's turned over, and the high slot now is an opportunity. Tavares going to win the race. Who's going to join him? Mitch Marner, good cancel with that cross pass as this gets blasted down the ice. Now with Tyler Toffoli. Tyler Toffoli got reinforcements on a 4-on-2. And Matt Murray has to make the save off of a slap shot as this is picked up by Tavares now. So now Marner, Tavares, everybody else can get set. A loss to Matthews. They might just go ahead and take this change as there's been a little bit of chaos here, Alec, from the last couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah, talk about chaos. One good opportunity on one end by Toronto, and that good sticking from by Hannafin to cancel out that pass. And on the other side, Matt Murray with the awareness to stop that shot from Calgary as we have an offside on the other end.
I think we get an offside, and now we get a commercial break. So this will give us all an opportunity to catch our breath. Hey, man, I appreciate you joining me on this one. You can stay as long as you like. I don't know if Cooper does join me, I'll probably have him go ahead and take some of that play-by-play because I know if he does come in there because I usually work with him. But if not, if you want to stick in with me or whatever else, if it's just us, we can go back and forth or whatever you want to do. So I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
All right, so I know we go usually from the Twitter Spaces and the YouTube side. The only other YouTube question that I posted on there, I said, "Did the Maple Leafs win tonight?" And the only reason why I throw that out there is because when you look at the Flames' road record for where they are right now, they're 13-10-3, but the road record is 3-6-2 on the road. Remember, they started their first 10 games pretty much in Alberta because 9 out of 10 of them were at the Settle Dome, and the other road game that they had was the one against the Battle of Alberta between Edmonton. So they had a 5-1 start, but ever since then it's kind of been a little bit back and forth here for Calgary as they try to find their footing. Toronto on the other end, I know it seems like a long time ago, and I mentioned this earlier throughout the broadcast, but Toronto does have losses to Anaheim, San Jose, and then there's like one other one that was bad, but yet they're still 17-5-6, and that just seems like a long time ago.
Talk about falling for trap games against Anaheim and San Jose. Yeah, I know they are weaker opponents, but you still can't look past them. That's the thing when it comes to Toronto.
And that's what we found out the other night. There was an interesting result is Arizona. They won at Mullet Arena against Boston when they were outshot, like 47-15?
That shocked me for the most part. But, man, that was a tough night for Jeremy Swayman. And I thought he was going to be a solid 1B for Boston, but it turns out that's not really much of the case since Linus Omar getting the bulk of the starts there in Boston. And he's been having a stellar season. One of the favorites for the Vezina as well.
I would think so, too. Allmark's been good. I think we're getting some net repairs here to make sure nothing else gets knocked off its moorings. Remember the days not too long ago, Alec, they didn't used to have those pegs, and I can't imagine what that would be like if the net doesn't move.
Boy.
So as it stands, and we're waiting right now with bated breath, it's 1-1, 9:24 in the first. It's 5 shots to 3 as they're still doing some heavy repairs. So we might have a good chance to do a little bit of a reset here. 5:04 marker was the first goal. Auston Matthews, 15th on power play from Nylander and Rasmus Sandin. Noah Hannafin with his second, the defenseman, assisted by Huberdeau and Elias Lindholm. And again, doesn't Mitchell Marner tonight, Alec, have the long point streak on the line?
Oh, yeah, that 20-game point streak. Did it get extended previously?
I
If
think,
remember.
I think it is. I think it's still underway right now. He does not have a point yet, although it's still very early throughout. It's now underway. This is a neutral zone draw, won here by the Flames, as it's put in across the red line. And now picked up Bunting. We'll get this one back to the defensive side and spin it back. So now the Maple Leafs will try to break out right to left. This gets intercepted by Calgary. All of a sudden, after that goal, they kind of found their footing and they buzzed a shot that went just wide of the right post as the fourth line's out there for Darryl Sutter's squad as Trevor Lewis had one go just wide. And now this goes around the red zone. This is going to get slapped in, picked up as they're going to beat TJ Brody the puck, but one of the Flames takes a hard fall. Coleman also out there as well. He's just trying to trap himself in between the puck right now as it's loose. There's a battle at David Camp. Players falling all over themselves and behind the cage of Matt Murray. And now Camp finally breaks out of Fred. And now this gets held by Dan Vladar. 8:32, we get our stoppage in the first. So what do you think so far of this game? Anytime we get these stoppages or anything else, I can just hand it right off to you here, Alec, and we can bat this thing back and forth. Two good teams I see right now on the ice, and a good pushback from Calgary compared to last night's game so far.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Calgary's finding some footing after that first goal that they got, the equalizer by Andersson. So far it's been all Leafs at first, but ever since that goal, Calgary seems to be finding a footing. They're generating pressure on the Leafs, as we see the Leafs winning a face on there at the offensive zone. But Calgary, they're just trying to hang in there, get the defense right up. That's been Darryl Sutter's H and his coaching schemes. Here comes Calgary.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that side. Calgary was able to keep this alive for a couple moments, try to bat the puck around, and now it goes to the other end. This is going to be held here for Michael Bunting. His pass goes all the way around the horn toward behind the office now. Dan Vladar is Noah Hannafin trying to get to this. All of a sudden, it's dangerous now. Picked up here by Nylander. It was centered out in front. This is battled in between a host of skate blades and sticks. This is going to be won by the jerseys in white and red. Now held toward the forehand side as this is Toffoli, but the shot goes just wide. 7:40 left in the first. It's a 1-1 tie between Hockey Night and Canada. Alex Kerfoot, it's Calgary and Toronto. Kerfoot got it now. Spins it around. Mackenzie Weegar trying to get to it. Still with Toronto. They're beating a couple of the Flames to the puck. It's loose out in front. It's bounced up in the air off of a shot deflection. Now it's Tavares trying to find Marner. Marner holding off the forehand, looking for a slot opportunity was Timothy Liljegren, and that got blocked away. Majapati with the sauce pass, and that got canceled away from Dubé, but another shot, and Nazem Kadri scores! 2-1 Flames!
Talk about defense to offense. That was some outstanding defense at the other end for Calgary, shutting off Marner on that good opportunity on the feed from Tavares. And then on the other end, Nazem Kadri, the former Leaf, he strikes gold, and the Flames, they're buzzing.
I really don't know what to say as far as Matt Murray. I feel like a couple of those opportunities, Alec, I just don't think he had a chance to make those saves. And as you just said, and I couldn't agree with you more, Calgary's just being opportunistic. They got a couple goals on the board. They've outworked Toronto in several areas, and I think they deserve this lead so far.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Back into the action, picked up by Vladar from the clear. It's 5 shots to 4. I believe one of the Maple Leafs right now is looking at the tablet here just to see the defensive breakdowns and where they went wrong. As you take that's Marner, and you take a look at Nazem Kadri on the other end. I'm sure he's feeling pretty good about himself. This is a Calgary team here, Alec, that doesn't really have the standout stars as far as their offensive production right now, but it kind of seems like any single person on this team can ignite the offense at any moment.
Yeah, as you mentioned, that's their 32nd first period goal of the season. That's the top 3 in the league at that point.
And this is none bigger than right now against the Maple Leafs especially. They're not used to being in a situation like this, although it is very early. So Phillips lost the puck, and he's going to end up getting this back as he gets his cross set up in the high slot. Here's a chance off of a tip. Another slap shot opportunity. That one was solved by Murray and brushed toward the right side of the faceoff dot as it gets canceled down. picked up now as it was loose in front, and on the Maple Leafs with Zach Aston Reese, the fourth line now. We'll just chip this in across the red line as Rasmus Andersson now gets to the left side red line. Now with Michael Backlund, there's a battle in between the left side of the neutral zone. One momentarily by Mark Giordano as it got sticked away. Giordano still waiting back in his own end as Blake Coleman is a one-man forecheck right now. 5:50 left to go in the first. John out here with you in the play-by-play, joined by Alec Nava, which I'm very happy about, as we can go ahead and take this game in at Hockey Night in Canada on CBC between the Flames and the Maple Leafs. This is bounced off the end boards and picked up now by Alex Kerfoot. His bounce pass went a little bit too far, as that got taken away from Andersson, who was recently called up from the Pierre Engvall one-game suspension, Joey Andersson. And Bunting had to avoid a huge hit, and no wonder why he went off sides on that one, as he had some words for the ref.
I don't blame him there. It's either risk the hit or go off sides, and there it feels like he made the safe play.
You're going to go ahead and you're going to make a business decision. That's what they call those, right?
Clear business decision there.
So good contest so far. Should we care at this point while we're in the commercial break? We can go around the league. I know it was a loss for my Detroit Red Wings here against the Dallas Stars at American Airlines Arena. It was a 3-2 win. I still think a 2-1-1 road trip's not too bad for the Red Wings considering who they're going to be playing. They still have Carolina and Minnesota this week on Tuesday and Wednesday in a 3-2 loss. It was Nils Lundqvist that got the game winner. The current scores that are underway right now, Alec, I see the Kings have a 2-0 lead over Montreal. And what do you think about the Canadiens? I mean, they're still hanging around in a playoff spot, and I think Martin St. Louis done a decent job.
I feel Martin St. Louis is going to revolutionize the coaching position. I know the Canadians, they don't have a lot of pieces around them, but the players like him. They respect him. They seem to have been having fun around him. And they're in a much better direction than where they were under Dom Ducharme than they were last season. And that's the whole thing. As long as the chemistry is clicking, that's what matters for Montreal. Yeah, I know they're down 2-0 and they're being heavily outshot, more than triple in shot 65. But everything seems to be clicking so far. But a few years away from serious playoff contention. But they'll get there.
But still, to your point, I think when you have that good coaching that I think St. Louis can bring, and you have Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, you have something over the next few years as being a building linchpin.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Those two are the future of Montreal. All they need to get is a true number one defenseman.
And that's why I love having you on there. We can talk a little bit more during the intermission here, unless we get another stoppage picked up here through the neutral zone by the Flames. This goes between Tyler Toffoli. Toffoli will get this. Pick it back up as it's Lindholm now. Drop it here for Toffoli toward the right side of the defensive dot. Lindholm. Now Jonathan Huberdeau sends it out for Toffoli, but he didn't have time to shoot. He's got to collect. Rasmus Andersson took a shot. It got blocked by the Leafs, and then he fell down. Good bullet pass there by Auston Matthews. Could be a 2-on-1, but good back check there by Mackenzie Weegar to just deny an opportunity. This is kept on the D-line side. His hole will get it down. And the Leafs lose it as they throw a backhanded pass inauspiciously. This gets gloved down from Toffoli by Auston Matthews. And now with 4:40 left in the first, it's 2-1 Calgary. They're being outshot 7-5, but they're leading where it counts on the scoreboard. Toronto going to take their time now, getting in the neutral zone as this goes between John Tavares. He got stick lifted and then punished there with Matthews as this goes back to Nazem Kadri. Gets around Marner. It's Andrew Mangiapane, the one forechecker here for the Flames. Kadri will now join in as they try to get around Bunting. Tavares finds this, goes ahead to Alexander Kerfoot. He's got to hold off his forehand. It's played off the embankment. This goes to Bunting. Now Bunting enters. Tavares tried to drop it, but it was a little too quick there for Marner. Still a chance for Kerfoot as it's got to get picked up in the back end by Zahora here for the Flames. And now Mangiapane got smoked with the back check as this goes now on the other end. Marner gets on his horse right to left across the Leafs logo. They stay on side. Marner's got it now. He tried to center it out in front. And this was blocked off one of the Flames, but it gets turned over. Here's David Kampf. He's trying to buy some time for some reinforcements off a change for Sheldon Keefe's squad. Zadorov trying to pin him the boards. Wayne Simmons also there as well as Vladar is looking to hold on at left post as we get an in-close look here between some skate blades and some puck. And now a hands up in the air. I didn't get a clear call on it, but we'll see. I think it could be cross-checking.
Oh, man, what a hit over the neutral zone. I didn't see much of that, but, man, right near the penalty box as we're getting in the penalty. Oh, Michael Backlund's arguing with the official. He doesn't like it, but more of the story. You can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We need to take another look at it because I need to see it myself. So I see the puck battle, and then, that's a clear cross-check there on Andersson. And that could have been dangerous there as you had his face go into the boards with the back
Yeah,
turn.
very dangerous indeed. 'Cause this could also very arguably as well been boarding as well. This is cross-checking as of now. Had the clear contact right near Andersson and Backlund. And, oh, man, yeah, he shut them down. That's a clear penalty.
So you think maybe you're kind of riding the line between a 2 and possible 5, but as right now it stands as a 2, so a minor. Backlund goes to the box. It's the third power play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're 1 for 2 right now. We'll see if they can strike again before the end of the first period, and that could be spell disaster a little bit for the Flames because this first period's been pretty good for them, all things considered. This is kept now D-to-D. Good hold in there by Sandin, and a shot and a score immediately. It's William Nylander, ties it at 2.
I was talking about this being possibly either a 1 or 2, or 2 or 5, excuse me. Well, they went on to the 2 side, and whew, what a river by Nylander for the right face-off circle. Backlund still can't believe it that he was being called for a cross-check when he knew immediately well that he was cross-checking Joey Anderson. So it was kept in at the line. William Nylander got the feed at the right dodge, takes this right into slot, rips it past Dan Blader. We're tied.
Yeah, they are. Went right to the 5-hole. Good shot there by William Nylander. And again, as you said, Alec, I think you pointed out perfectly. It was a penalty you just can't take. And when Toronto is as skilled as they are offensively, you're asking for trouble as it's 23rd assist for Marner. So his point streak is officially alive now as he gets that one going. And it continues. 2-2 with 2:30. Yes, it is. Picked up by the Maple Leafs in their own end is Zach Aston Reese. Now David Camp will shovel this out of there. And Nazem Kadri will instead go ahead and take his change and give it back to Rasmus Andersson in his defense. And we'll see how Calgary responds. I think both teams have responded very well with the offensive game. That's what we've had right now with 8 shots to 5 and 2 goals apiece on both sides. Nikita Zadorov will hold in his own end toward the right side dot as this gets intercepted by David Camp. And Camp will do the right thing. He'll get this down the ice and let the Maple Leafs get their change. There's Trevor Lewis out there right now for Darryl Sutter's squad, the 4th line. Picked up by Simmons. Excellent pass across ice to Alexander Kerfoot. And here come the Maple Leafs again off the long slap shot. Former Flame, Mark Giordano, puts it right on as Simmons has some pushing and shoving for the Flames.
Both sides have words for each other after all that. It seems like these two are having some tempers flaring right up at each other. You know, Wayne Simmons, tough guy, not easy to possibly get away from as we take a look back at this. And we see Nylander coming back onto the ice. Fans applauding after all that.
Yeah, they are applauding the point streak of Mitchell Marner, and no doubt about that, as they've just shown that on the big board. It's an offensive zone draw here, lost by Auston Matthews, but the Flames are going to have a tough time trying to get puck possession as this is picked up. Bunting will play this one ahead. Cross pass gets blocked by one of the Flames before it ever hit Dan Vladar. And now this goes for Michael Backlund. He's going to try to get it to Coleman, but he's being bothered there by Justin Hall as this gets flipped down by Rasmus Andersson. We'll get it now from the D-to-D pass in between Hannafin. And now the Flames will get their entry, and they're just going to get this one down deep as it's Andrew Mangiapane. He's being held toward the left side of the red line. Flames fake the slapper in the high slot. Rister lets it go. It goes off the blocker of Matt Murray toward the left side of the red line, but still held in by the Flames. Looking for another long outstretched shot as Tyler Toffoli gets canceled off the puck. Nylander, living in now, bunting, plays it in between his skates and back to his defense as we've hit 45 seconds left to go in the first. John, I'm here with you on play-by-play, joined with Alec, Nava, and Color. We're taking this Hockey Night in Canada in on Twitter Spaces on the YouTube side, so thank you for joining us here today. This goes a stretch pass. Andrew Mangiapane picking up toward the right side of the red line. Nazem Kadri takes a look and behind the right red line. And this goes back now to David Kampf as Zach Aston Reese gets knocked off the puck. And we'll see if they'll call anything out of this one or whether it was just an offside entry. So longest active point streaks, they're showing it right now, Alec, in the sense of 26 games played straight for Patrick Kane, 25 for Crosby, 22 for Marner. Elite company, Hall of Famers on that list.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Marner, 22 games. There was another that was fourth longest active before it got snapped. Jason Robertson at 18 games before the shutout against, what do you know, Toronto.
Yeah, and Jason Robertson, when you think about Robo, man, over the last few years, he was a second-round pick, and I cannot believe he was taken that late considering. It wasn't at the Dallas Stars. They got Robertson, they got Heiskanen, and they got Ottinger all in that same 2016 draft. What a haul that was.
The future's bright in Dallas.
Yes, it is. 19 seconds left to go in this first. We're tied at dose here. 13 straight games with a point. Longest tie in the NHL this season for a point streak for Marner. This gets dumped down the ice. About 10 seconds left now. We'll see if Calgary can hold on without conceding anything. They're just going to trap this. Near the left side of the red line. It goes dangerously out in front of Vladar, as that was close. But it is 2-2 after one.
Oh, what a game this has been in the first period. Toronto and Calgary exchanging goals with one another, and both teams responding very well to what they have had so far, putting up each other. You mentioned Kadri getting his first goal and back in Toronto as a Flame, and then William Nylander responding on the power play, and as we get some highlights of previous action. Well,
so I would say this, Alec, when you look at just the offhand part of it, it's 4 penalties for the Flames, and Toronto has capitalized twice, so they've done exactly what they needed to do when the opportunity has presented itself. Our stats in front of us, Matt Murray had to make just 4 saves in that first period, 4 out of 6, and for Dan Vladar, 7 out of 9. So the save percentage is hurting right now for both of these goalies, but I thought maybe going into this, Alec, that this could be a high-scoring game, and Calgary needed to make a better effort. Yes, they're doing so from the game from the other day against Columbus, but they've got to stop taking penalties.
And don't make any boneheaded decisions. That's the biggest key for Calgary here, and they're hurting themselves when they got themselves on the penalty kill 3 times already, with the Leafs converting on 2 of those chances. Talking about the Leafs' top power play unit, one of the most deadliest in the league. They got the top 4 forwards out there: Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, and Marner. And not to mention Morgan Riley, but he's out with an injury still. So slotting in for him is Rasmus Sandin. That was a good keeping by. Let me go back. Good keeping by Sandin at the blue line when you go back to that second power play, and William Nylander netting in his 16th for the year.
Yeah, so let me just, since I have you on here, I really haven't had an opportunity to talk to you too much about some of the other things. I know you cover just as much hockey stuff as I do. You're probably better in certain areas than I am even in on any of that stuff, because I'll give you full marks. You're always working and doing stuff. So when you look around the league right now, you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, correct?
Correct, it is. So we're up 2-0 against Buffalo, and last night we beat Buffalo at Keefe Arena 4-3 in overtime. That's a overtime power play winner from Jeff Carter after Jeff Skinner made that boneheaded decision to take a match penalty when he was slashing his stick at Jake Gensel. Ooh, I have to say thanks a lot for that Skinner.
So when you think about the Metropolitan Division that the Pittsburgh Penguins are in, look, I can always tell you from the Atlantic and the experience from the Red Wings, but on your side for the Metro, you have 2 teams in the Metro. They're in the wild card right now between the Islanders and the Rangers, and you also have the Devils and the Hurricanes. Did you ever think New Jersey would be as good as they are this year?
Man, that was not on my prediction list at all. I didn't think the Devils were going to be this good. I was expecting them soon enough they will be a playoff contender, but I didn't expect them to be coming this hot out the gate. 27 games in, they're standing right at the top 2 in the league, just one place behind the Bruins for first in the entire league. They're both tied at 43 points, though the Bruins have the advantage based on fewer games played. And man, the Devils, they're a formidable team right now, considering the pieces that they have together. Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt breaking out. Though Andre Palat may be hurt, he is still vital to this Devils team. Plus, the defense is quicking. Dougie Hamilton having a resurgence. John Marino, great pickup in the offseason.
Yeah.
And he's finally showing his potential here in New Jersey. That tandem, Vitek Vanacek and the call from the AHL, Akira Schmid. Oh, boy.
It seems to be working well. Before we go to the Penguins here, I just want to get your thoughts. We're about, 25, 27 games in the season, so a little over a quarter done. So from where we're at right now with Boston, New Jersey, and certain other teams like that are way up there, do you think those playoff spots are probably already claimed for them? I'm not saying that they're going to be number one in their division, but do you think that they're already maybe a shoe-in for the playoffs?
But there's no guarantee that that's happening because consider Detroit, Florida, Washington, possibly Montreal are still fighting for those wild card spots.
Okay.
So nothing's locked as of now, but when you look at the goal differential for the Islanders and Rangers, they're in a positive goal differential. The only other one of these teams fighting for wild card spots that has a positive goal differential is Florida. Detroit may be in a bit of a slump, but the injuries are certainly not helping matters either. If you go to the depth charts right now, just recently found out that Tyler Bertuzzi, he's on the IR. Jacob Vrana is taking some time away from the team with some personal issue. Robbie Fabry, Philip Zadina, they're also on the IR, and so those injuries are certainly hurting.
No doubt about that on that side. I mean, it's only been a couple games I've been able to even see Jacob Vrana. And the funny thing was, that was coming off the second game was a win over the New Jersey Devils when they were chanting "Fire Lindy." They're certainly not saying that now. So
yeah, it's certainly a different vibe in New Jersey. They were chanting "Sorry, Lindy."
Yeah, I do remember that. So while I have you on here, though, we did a little bit of a look-in on that side, but you're our Pittsburgh Penguins aficionado there, and we've had some good rivalries over the years since Detroit has moved their way into the East. I'm just happy to see that Chris Letang had given everybody good news after suffering a stroke. I guess he's been battling with some of that stuff for a while. But what do you make of it? What do you make of the Penguins? They kind of brought the band back together and everything else, but I think that's the right decision because when you have Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang, how much do you really need to change?
Yeah, whenever you have those three together, you're competing for a playoff spot no matter what. Plus, Jake Gensel and his goal scoring at the left wing side of Crosby, and these two are really clicking it together for their time in Pittsburgh. Whew.
No, they are, and it's been a dynasty, and I really don't think that you want to break that up at any certain point of it. So I could understand maybe at some point Pittsburgh will move on from that, but I don't think you would ever do that until Sidney and Evgeny and all those guys decide to hang it up, and I don't think that's going to be anytime soon. But I will say this. Over my stretch of time of actually watching Sidney Crosby, he missed a lot of these games with concussions and certain other issues like that. But I think when it's all said and done here, Alec, and this is just me from a former blood rival side, I think Sidney Crosby is going to be in one of the very short list of maybe a top 7 to 10 player all time.
You can argue we have a spot in the top 5 players of all time.
Yes.
That could be a factual argument considering that, let's look at it right now. This is one of his most underrated seasons as of now. So age 35, he's on pace for 47 goals and more than 10 points. Not a lot of people are talking about that.
No, absolutely. No, I agree with you on that side. So I don't think we know about Sidney Crosby's accolades and everything else going into the season, how coveted he was, but how hard is it to actually live up and fit to that billing? Because he's done that all the way through.
Well, he's been dubbed the next one at the time when he was drafted. He's exceeded those expectations during his time here in Pittsburgh. Whew, man, what a remarkable career he's been having.
No, I agree. I just wanted to make sure that since you're on there, we would be on the same page. Because look, there's going to be no love loss in between both of our teams, but I can absolutely be respectful from what I've seen because Pittsburgh is a hell of a team and they've been so for a long, long time. So let's shift our way, if you want to, here in the Western Conference. Are there any teams that have kind of stood out to you? Any teams that you're thinking about? What about the year that the second year Seattle Kraken are having? Any thoughts on them?
What a surprise year this been having. I wasn't expecting it to be in a playoff spot, but man, they are a playoff team this year. The Calder Trophy favorite Matty Beniers looking sharp as ever, and everything is clicking. I thought this wasn't much of a playoff team with Dave Hackstall as head coach. Certainly, I was wrong. And the thing is, the addition of Andre Burakovsky has been helping matters as well.
I thought that was a fantastic pickup for the Kraken in the offseason. I know when I had Cooper on here a few times, we would talk about that when we watched Burakovsky and everything else for the Colorado Avalanche, some of the time on the Caps. That's an underrated pickup. And for the Kraken to be able to get somebody like that, and as you said, the former Michigan Wolverine standout, Matty Beniers, that makes me happy on that side for the local connection. But yeah, the Kraken have been a lot better than expected. And for everyone that kind of thought that maybe the Kraken should take the same approach that the Vegas Golden Knights did in year one. Look, I think Gary Bettman gave the Golden Knights probably a better chance of a better team than Seattle. That's just my opinion, but it's one of those situations where they didn't take the contract of Carey Price. Yes, he hasn't played, and I understand he's got some other issues. They didn't take the contract of Vlad Tarasenko. They had some opportunities to make some splashy moves. They didn't do them. They held on to their draft picks, and already in year two, they're looking really good and they still have building blocks for the future. So I think it's a good setup in Seattle.
Yeah, plus Shane Wright, who they need to develop properly, they load him over to Team Canada for what is it? What was it about Shane Wright? I'm looking this up again.
I think there was. Let me look up something with Shane Wright. I think I did hear something about that. I know he's finally getting some time in Seattle as well to start playing. I know everybody, like you said, with the development, they wanted him to play early, but it's kind of hard to do so when the team's kicking so much butt like they are. So he's going to be on the World Juniors. So Kraken Shane Wright, the Team Canada for World Juniors. So he's going to get an opportunity again. And if the World Juniors, if I'm correct on that side, that's when I cover that stuff in the summer. So that's going to take place around June and things like that. So he's going to be on the 2023 team for a loaded Canada squad. So good on him. He's probably going to dominate.
Yeah, for sure. He and Connor Bedard is going to be a lethal duo there.
So if we're talking about teams in the West here, Cooper, or sorry there, Alec, well, I have you on in the sense of who is a disappointment for you, or who did you expect more of? We know that the Vancouver Canucks have kind of put it on of late. They've put themselves in the hunt for a wild card spot, but are you at all concerned for the Edmonton Oilers? Is there some other team that's on your mind?
If you talk about disappointments, I was expecting more for the St. Louis Blues this season, considering last year that they made the playoffs. Now they're finding themselves 12 and 15 and just 5 points out of a wild card spot, minus 23 goal differential. And plus, the losing streak hasn't held matters either. After beginning this season 3-0, then going on an 8-game losing streak before going on a winning streak. It's just been a season of inconsistency for St. Louis so far this season.
So go ahead.
Yeah, they lost David Perron this offseason. That may be hurting them. I don't know by how much, but things are not looking good for St. Louis. Plus, all the temper tantrums that Jordan Binnington has been having whenever he's getting pulled and whatnot. Oh, man.
That was the interesting part for me because when you talk about David Perron and you also talk about Ville Husso, all I seem to think about on the Red Wings side is thank you, Steve Yzerman, for making these additions.
Steve Yzerman masterclass, everyone.
So as you speak out for St. Louis, and I think that's the one that you really have to hit on. So I'm glad that you mentioned, like you said, a 3-game win streak, an 8-game losing streak, and then they're 3-7 in their last 10. If St. Louis is trying to be that team from a few years ago that won the Stanley Cup from worst to first in 2019 it was, I mean they're really putting themselves in a hole, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to dig themselves out of it. But maybe it is sometimes, Alec, you have some good teams that just don't make it. But the issue is, like you said, St. Louis is just not playing well right now.
As I said, season of inconsistency.
So when you think about it, I don't know if Connor Bedard is going to be the first pick or things like that as we're kind of going through the league in a little bit of this intermission. What struggling team do you think could use him the most?
Could be Chicago, because Anaheim already has Trevor Zegras. They've got to have the pieces to build around Zegras and Troy Terry and all those other guys. Chicago, I think they're at the tail end of their two main guys, Taves and Kane. There have been rumors circling around them if they're going to be shopped around at the trade deadline. I think Kane's a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bedard to Chicago could be something, considering what pace they're going through.
I think the other thing for me, if we throw it to the east on that side, the Columbus Blue Jackets would be interesting. Yeah, they had started off struggle with goaltending and things like that. They didn't have the season that they really wanted. They thought they maybe get a playoff push. You get Johnny Gaudreau, Patrick Laine, and Connor Bedard on that side, you might have something. I think Philadelphia, they're really hoping that falls to them. But the one exciting team, although I don't think it's going to happen here, Alec, admittedly, you remember what we saw a few nights ago with Tage Thompson when he had his 5 goals and an assist? Can you imagine him on that team of Buffalo? Because I don't think you can take the Sabres as an afterthought anymore. They can really put up some offense.
Well, of all that draft capital Buffalo has and a lot of key pieces around them, future's bright in Buffalo. I'll say that. I don't know if they have an outside chance of them, but if they were to get a draft pick now, I think they're going to be somewhere in the middle. So right. I don't know if they'll get Bedard.
No, I wouldn't think so either. But I think if like the teams that you would kind of maybe want, I mean, like Buffalo, Vancouver can also score a lot. I don't think they'll be able to get to them either. But I think those would certainly be the sexy picks if that was at all possible. Because when you have offense like Vancouver has, look, their problem is, Demko's been hurt. There's been some inconsistencies. They've had to start Spencer Martin, but I mean, they score 4, 5, 6 goals a game and win in overtime pretty much every game, it seems like.
Yeah, the issue of Vancouver is the defense. That's my main issue with them. Quinn Hughes is more of an offensive guy, not much of a defensive guy.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how that works out too, because I think they also have that long contract with Oliver Ekman-Larsson, correct? So it's like they really.
Yeah, I don't know what the logic is by taking on this contract. Maybe Arizona's trying to move his contract around, but Ekman-Larsson is not what he once was, clearly, and it's showing.
No, and the fact that Shane Gostisbehere can go to Arizona and do what he's doing, I think doesn't look so good on Oliver Ekman-Larsson when you're in Vancouver and you got better personnel around you. That's all I would think about that.
And considering that Ekman-Larsson, $7.26 million a year up until the 2027 free agency period.
Ooh.
So that's a yikes on Vancouver.
Yeah, I didn't realize. That's good on your part. I didn't realize that extension was that long. So yeah, if Vancouver wants to make some changes, I guess the one thing that you and I can both say is the salary cap is supposed to go up, but good luck to anybody who wants to touch that type of contract.
If there's anyone who's trying to get that contract, most likely it's going to have to be at 50% retention.
No, you're absolutely right on that side, because if you wanted the same thing, Detroit, Chicago, teams like that, you're right. You have to retain some kind of salary. I mean, hell, for the Maple Leafs to be able to make any of their moves for a lot of stuff that they did, because they're up against it with Kyle Dubas's God Squad on offense. They have to retain every sort of salary because everybody's already signed. So that would make a lot of sense. We're going to be getting to the start of the second period. I appreciate that lively intermission there, Alec, and hopefully I didn't throw too much at you, but it was just nice to have a conversation because I haven't had a chance to talk to you too much.
Hey, no problem, man. Anything that works.
So admittedly, I know they're showing some other stuff on CBC right now. I haven't watched a lot of the World Cup, so I can't commentate on that much. But I know that's getting close to the semifinal part of it. France is going to be back in the thick of things. I saw that a little bit toward the end of the day as we're going to get close to our game. So CBC likes to show a lot of other things. I think this one is front and center here tonight. Most goals on Saturday night. What a stat that is. Matthews with 21, Lindholm 18, Marner 17, Draisaitl 17, and Matthew Tkachuk. I covered that Red Wings game a little bit, that Hulu one that was only on there, and I felt I might have died a little bit inside there, Alec, when Matthew Tkachuk went bar down and in the other day. He's got a heck of a shot, and he's a heck of a skilled player. And to think that Calgary lost 215-point players last year and still try to be competitive, that's pretty good on Brad Treliving to try to make all these other moves. We'll see what they can do here in this second period. And when we do get a little bit of a break, I'll make sure I plug in my phone so I don't lose everybody. Nazem Kadri loses the draw, chipped in across the red line now with John Tavares. It's going to be right to left here for the Calgary Flames in the second period. And here's Nazem Kadri breaking toward an open right wing. It's a 2-on-2. Nice toe drag off the backhand. Good setup there for Kadri. It was stopped there by Matt Murray, but I still love the skating display as this goes back between John Tavares now with Dennis Mulligan. Mulligan tries to enter. He's going to leave it here for the captain, and they'll get this clear in as this is picked up by Mackenzie Weegar. Weegar will play this to the defensive partner, and it's going to go back on the other end for Toronto. It's a 2-2 game. Joined here by Alec Nava. Jonna with you on the play-by-play. Open right wing side. It was stopped by Vladar as this is spun around and kept in by Justin Hull. This goes in behind the kick play. Tried to be played out in front, but canceled off by Christopher Tanev was Mitch Marner. It's 12-18 puck possession for the Maple Leafs at about 8 minutes as this goes right in the breadbasket from a bunting shot. Good save there by Vladar.
One-time feed as well. That shot from Bunting took it right to the chest.
Yes, it was. And again, Alec, I think we have to say this. As good as Jacob Markstrom was last year, and I think they can still get him back on track. He's a Vezina candidate for a reason. It's been Dan Vladar's showcase, and I think over the last 5 games that he's been in here, he's been pretty good for Calgary.
As I pulled the stats for Dan Vladar, Darth Vladar, as some Flames fans like to call him, 2.59 goals against average and a .912 save percentage. Markstrom, on the other hand, 2.93 goals against average, .891 save percentage. So rough go for Markstrom early on in this season, but there's no time to turn things around for him.
As this is chaos in front as Matt Murray. Matt Murray was at center ice to go ahead and clear this puck, and somehow he was able to get all the way back in as the shot was blocked twice by the Maple Leafs defense. So he went to go play the puck, and he went in between the face-off circles. Another shot goes off his face mask as this is picked up there by Noah Hannafin. You don't normally see a goalie go out that far. It makes me think of Ryan Miller with the Vancouver Canucks from way back when, as this is picked up from the left side red line.
Stop that empty net shot.
Yeah,
That reminds me.
I do remember that because that did happen against the Red Wings. I do remember watching that game as he did. He was going back, and this is what it was. He was going back from the empty net. He hustled. He dove. He got his stick on the ice, and I believe he blocked Henrik Zetterberg from all those years ago. As Matt Murray, again, he wasn't all the way out that far, but as we're getting another replay there, Alec, that was chaos.
Steve Dangle says if you're a goaltender, tend to go. Well, Matt Murray tended to go so well there. He went up for up in his own end.
No, he did, and I know Steve Dangle's probably doing a live feed as we're doing our game too. I'm sure he's probably thinking that in the back of his mind, so I'm glad that you mentioned him. He's always pretty funny on that side. I can't believe what we just saw.
I mean, I also can't believe this. It feels like Leafs fans were right on the edge of the seats. He just had a heart attack there. 2 great saves. And in another case, as Murray was trying to get back to the net, Andersson was picking up that part.
Yeah, it was crazy. So it was a defensive zone sequence, one there off the face-off by the Flames, and he was literally out between the circles to make 2 saves. So back underneath the action now, 17:35 left in the second. We'll see if Matt Murray can catch his breath as this one goes down the ice. TJ Brody gets worked hard there by Jonathan Huberdeau with a check. It's loose out in front, and one of the Flames, I think, might have took a stick up to the face. But they're okay as it was Tyler Toffoli. He got worked over. And now this is the Leafs Leafs will pinball this pass as this gets picked off by Mackenzie Weegar across the red line, safely dumped in, overskated by one of the Flames. Rasmus Andersson faked the slapper. Going to backhand this one into Foley. Foley will hold, keep it in, try to play this one with a high stick was Andersson, but he missed it. And now Kerfoot will get it toward the left side of the red line. Picked up now. Brody got canceled off the puck as Rasmus Andersson will win it. And the Flames will take their time. Nazem Kadri going to let everybody check up. And Nazem Kadri with a reverse hit on that side. Pretty good there by Nazem as he knocks down one of the Maple Leafs. This is with the Leafs now as Bunting gets this one to Tavares. He's going to pass it to himself off the embankment with a toe drag, but he gets canceled off by Hanifin. Hanifin going to leave it there casually for Nazem Kadri as that was dangerous, but it went up into the mesh.
But yeah, dangerous pass attempt by Kadri right at the tail end of that play as it went up to the net. Yeah, he was colliding with Mitch Marner there, but as you go back, that good reverse hit by him on Joey Andersson. We are at a middle of a partial commercial break. Good reverse hit by Kadri right near the sin bin.
Yes, it was. This has been a game that's been pretty scintillating as far as a regular season tilt is concerned. So with all the hype that I was trying to make of this matchup, being happy to do this one, it's lived the billing so far. It's 11 shots to 8. Here's a chance now for Noah Hanifin as they try to get the puck in deep. And now, picked up by the Flames is Ruzicka. This got knocked away from him. Zadorov going to dump this one deep. Now Zadorov with it off the backhand. Intercepted there by the Flames in the high slot. Zadorov going to tee the wrist shot up. This is right in the catching glove of Matt Murray, although that was deflected, and that was a good save as we get a stop with 16 minutes.
83-mile-per-hour bullet on Zadorov's shot. It was a screenshot as well. And those screenshots are really tough considering there's traffic in front. When the goalie can't see it, that usually means the shooter can't see that either. So Zadorov, careful with his placement, got the screen from Radim Sohorna right in front after Mitch Marner gave it up for Blake Coleman. Coleman feeding Zadorov, left point, moving in the top of the left face-off circle. Murray with 2 great saves to stop those chances. Sohorna, 6 points in 17 games with the Penguins last season, placed on waivers ahead of his team. Oh, what a shot there.
Oh, what a hit on the other side as the Flames knock down one of the Maple Leafs on their heavily padded wallet. Here's an entry now for Kadri. Fakes the slapper, passes instead as the Flames get this one to the left side of the red line. What action that we've had in this second period so far, Alec. Again, I'm glad that you could join me here for this one. Justin Hall almost canceled off the puck in his own end as Mulligan will get this one down deep. And now Nylander is way off sides as we get a stoppage of 15-25. What action we've had in this game so far.
It's been back and forth so far here. I'm at the end of my seat enjoying this. I'm going to grab some popcorn here, but I'm all out of it.
No, man, I'm happy to have you on here with this game. This has been a lot of fun. I'm glad we'll be able to actually work together and call a game. I'll have to make sure sometime during the next couple weeks that I'll go ahead and check in with you when you're up doing assignment, because I wouldn't mind doing some of the caller stuff and listening to your call because I know that you're really good at it. So I appreciate you working here with me.
Hey, thanks, man.
So David Kampf going to take this defensive zone draw and a good win there for the Maple Leafs. Pick it up, and now Joey Andersson gets this one across. Bunting tries to get this pass in deep as this is picked up now off the forehand by Kerfoot. The sauce pass eludes one of the Maple Leafs, and now this is busy and behind the office of Dan Vladar. Trying to set this up to the right side blue line. Maple Leafs patient is Joey Andersson. We'll get this clear and deep. Picked up now by the Maple Leafs as this goes back to TJ Brody. Giordano also out there as well, as the Maple Leafs will collect now on the right side of the faceoff dot. Pinball back to Dan Vladar, but it is safe to go ahead and take some changes. Stone and Kerfoot had a long meeting toward the right side of the dot as this bounces off one of the Flames. Matt Murray will go ahead and play with the goal stick now. 14:30. Timothy Liljegren with the outstretched pass. This finds the stick of Vladar one more time. He tries to play it off the embankment. This gets intercepted now. Here's a chance Auston Matthews, but his pass was wanting toward the middle of the slot, picked up by the Flames, put down the ice. It's going to be a hybrid icing, 14-17. That means the Flames cannot change.
Well, I wasn't sure about that icing call because I don't know players or not, but this was a tough one for me.
It certainly looked like it actually bounced off one of the Flames when it was cleared through center ice. That's what I thought I saw. And we're going to get an offensive zone draw here for the Maple Leafs, but it's won here by the Flames. Zenon Ruzicka will get this one down deep. Back one is the lone forechecker, but here's a breakout pass, and they knocked away from Bunting. It looked like he was going to streak right down the middle. Backhanded blind pass from Marner was a little dangerous. Matthews will play crisscross as this is picked up now by William Nylander. Nylander going to try to set this one up there with Bunting. Liljegren able to stay on side. Here comes the wrist shot into the traffic, but it bounced off one of the Flames. Picked up now near the left side of the faceoff dot. Adam Ruzicka now is the lone forechecker. As this is moved quickly, Marner got hit, and this is picked up off of the drop pass. Christopher Tanev almost gave it right up to Michael Bunting. Flames will get this one down. Adam Ruzicka will try to just chop at it as this goes back to the Flames on the defensive end. Good long outstretched pass to the left side of the neutral zone. Picked up now by Christopher Tanev. He plays the defensive partner, Mackenzie Weegar. Lewis will hold on. Play to an open middle pass as they get the entry. Christopher Tanev will just rattle this around the end boards. Lewis knocks it up in the air. Ruzicka also out there as well. John Tavares going to get back on his horse. As they'll hustle down. It's a one-on-one. It's going to be won there by Mulligan, but Mulligan needs some help. He's just going to play this in behind the office of Vladar. Here's John Tavares off the backhand trying to keep this alive. It's two Flames trying to knock the puck from him. As now it's Nylander. And the high slot. Here comes the one-timer. Bounced up over the net at the save of Vladar, but it's still with the Maple Leafs. Now a short side wrist shot. As Vladar doesn't have a goal stick. This is near the left side of the faceoff dot. Keep that in mind. As the Maple Leafs still matriculate the puck around. And they're going to take their time. Vladar's goal stick is nowhere in reach. And he's screened in front. Set up, stop with the right pad of Vladar. This is still with the Maple Leafs. It feels like a power play right now. Nylander getting stick lifted. Now Nylander will get it back. This is on the right side of the red line with the Maple Leafs. Goes back to D. It's TJ Brody with Sandin. They're going to pass this toward the right faceoff dot as it was getting jammed for the blue line side. Rasmus Andersson finally gets a piece of it. They're still in the defensive zone. Now to the neutral. Rasmus Andersson skates all the way in. Now he's behind the office. He sets up a drop pass, but nobody was home there for the Flames. That was a good opportunity for the offensive defenseman. Now Kadri.
What a good chance that was for Toronto to get something going back there. Yeah, as you said, it felt like a power play. Player still doesn't have a stick. It's at the far side right near the benches.
Yes, and play is still live right now as it's Marner on the right side wing. As I think he might have got clipped. He thinks he got clipped with a stick. A break out the other way for Dylan Dubé. And that was stopped by Matt Murray. The Flames now going the other way. It's been left to right and right to left all second period here, Alec. It's been nuts. As Sandin will play this one. Picked up by the Flames. Maybe they'll get a chance to settle this down. And they need a little bit of break there for Vladar as he can finally go ahead and get a goal stick.
He has a stick now.
This has been a broadcast that has been every which way, and it just seems to be anyone that ever ends up joining me on these. This is the way that it goes here, Alec. It's a little bit of insanity. You just got to buckle in and enjoy the ride.
But yeah, as you said previously, that felt like a power play for Toronto. Now the player doesn't have a stick, and Toronto's getting all this spacing left and right, getting open chances every which possible way. But it's been the Flames' defense that's been shutting them down despite all those chances. And that good stick on Nylander in that one opportunity. Woo! Man, I've been enjoying this so far.
It's been a great game, and you're exactly right. It's been a game that's been back and forth. I mean, if any of us were going to tell you which way this is going to go, we'd probably be lying to you because I really don't think we can really tell which way this game's going to go. Both teams seem hungry for it. Both teams seem ready to go. Toronto, again, I've always talked about them as being one of these teams that can seemingly win any game. And I feel like they've played well too. The Flames have played well. Both teams have given their best effort, and that's why this game has been so entertaining. But again, like you said, as we're in the middle of the commercial break, when you think about Steve Dangle on the side, if you're a goaltender, 10 the goal, you don't want to see too much more of that from Matt Murray. As again, it was between both circles, goes out of his net, tries to chase for the puck, and has to make two ridiculous saves before he can even get back into the crease.
Ironically enough, when you speak of if you're a goaltender, tend to go, Jacob Markstrom had made that risky move and it backfired on him twice so far as if I can remember these past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
One of them, which led to a game-winning goal by the Buffalo Sabres last season in overtime.
No, you're right. I mean, I think Cooper said the same thing too, because I know he's the Calgary Flames resident expert for me. It was the same thing on that side. And when we watched it a little bit between the Battle of Alberta and the playoffs between Calgary and Edmonton, Mike Smith was due for a couple of those as well. So it gets pretty risky out there because sometimes I imagine if you're a goaltender, you just want to get the face off, freeze it, and do nothing more and do no less. So picked up now as we're back underneath this thing. It's 10:55. We'll have to go in the second. It's tied at dose between Toronto and Calgary. We're at the Scotiabank Arena right now where the Maple Leafs play. As this is a Canadian matchup here, knocking out in Canada. Short side shot there for Kerfoot, and that one goes just wide. I think it actually went off of the right pad of Vladar, but now Justin Hall will get to it. As Kerfoot will hold off the backhand. He's going to take his time as he played back D to D. And a battle now between the left side of the red line as this gets dumped in. Right in the webbing of the catching glove of Vladar, they're going to let this go as he goes down to quickly play it. Mangiapane with an outstretched look as he's going to play through an embankment of an open left side of the red line. Timothy Liljegren will check up from a long pass as it goes back down the other way to Christopher Tanev. Tanev now gets bodied off the puck there by Wayne Simmons nicely. As Toronto trying to win a couple of puck battles. Nazem Kadri almost lost it in between his skates a couple of times. He goes through 3 checks, goes down. Here's an opportunity. Big save by Vladar. And the rebound goes just wide. That was off the left pad. And now Holmgren's going to try to get to this one here for the Flames. As Kadri's having a little bit of words with the referee, saying that he was hooked and tripped, and I honestly don't blame him, as this is with the Flames in the offensive zone, but the pass is way too far. And this goes all the way back in the own end as the netminder for the Flames will go pick it up. He's going to leave it for the defensive partner, Nikita Zadorov. Zadorov now gets the entry on the red line side. Picked up here by Matt Murray. That was a little bit of a dangerous pass, although he made it cleanly, but it was busy and behind his net. D to D. One-time slapper there for Calgary as Stone's bid goes wide. Another one goes to the left side of the red line. As they're trying to brace for a hit or one of the Flames. Picked up now near the left side red line. Adam Ruzicka will play this back to Nikita Zadorov. Zadorov's got 2 other forecheckers in his face. As Tavares was sitting in the middle of the ice. Now it's on the right side dot to Foley trying to make something happen. And now the Leafs can pick this up in their own end. It's turned over for Backlund. This goes maybe off the bar. And now it's in. Oh my goodness, the Flames have taken the lead.
Oh, man, what a turn of events here. There were probably 2 missed calls on the other end of the ice, and Kadri was complaining to the officials on how he was hooked. I thought one of the other players, he got cross-checked down at the other end of the ice. And now at the other side, there was a shot that went up the crossbar, and Trevor Lewis at the far end of the boards, he was just waiting there, expecting a rebound. The initial shot, that went off the crossbar, and then Lewis on the rebound. And then Matt Murray couldn't find that. Let's see, backward shot off the crossbar, and then Lewis wide open rebound at the far side of the boards. The Flames taking the lead here at Scotiabank Arena.
And Alec, I really appreciate your color coverage on that side because I was happy to say that it did go off the bar because that was my initial reaction, but I wasn't ready for the Trevor Lewis slapper, neither was Matt Murray. Here come the Flames again. Hanifin can't corral it. Off the backhand pass, here's Coleman. Coleman tried to center it out in front, and did we have a penalty hand in the air?
This was going against Toronto, in my assumption, considering the last touch by one of the Leafs players.
So we're going to see who this is going to be on. It looks like Mark Giordano is going to go to the box.
Yeah, no likelihood. So we'll see about this penalty as we get to it once again, once we get a replay of it. So as Matthews was going to the puck, Giordano tying up with Blake Coleman. I believe it's a hook. So Calgary's going to the power play.
That's what we got as we go to the commercial break. It's a hook against Giordano at 11:37. Blake Coleman. This is going to be the second power play for the Calgary Flames the Toronto Maple Leafs have already had 4 cracks at it. They've scored twice. So what a goal sequence that we've had for Calgary. And I think if you're a Flames fan, you scratch your head at what you seen yesterday. You know you have 3 games in 4 nights. You want to go ahead and bring your best effort. This is a Calgary team, again, that's 3-6-3 on the road. They're 13-11-3 on the season. They do not look like the team that's had a poor road record. They are definitely giving Toronto all that they can handle at the moment.
They're looking for a bounce back game, and certainly this is the night that they need to get one, and they're so far doing it right now. A disappointing loss to Columbus on the road at Nationwide Arena, facing Johnny Gaudreau for the first time this season.
Yep.
And now they're on to Toronto, facing another one of their old guys, Mark Giordano, and they're delivering right now on a bounce back game.
Yes, they are. As we're looking at our official stats right now in the middle of a commercial break, it's 13 shots to 12 in favor of the Leafs. 20 hits to 17. Flames got that edge in faceoffs. Pretty close, 16-15 for the Maple Leafs. But where it counts right now is a 3-2 goal edge for the Flames. Again, as Alec said, it was a shot that was pinged off the crossbar from Michael Backlund. And then Trevor Lewis picks it up. He fires the cannon at 11-11. It gives the Flames a 3-2 lead. It's been a back-and-forth game all the way through. Auston Matthews started it, and it was Noah Hannafin and Kadri. Nylander tied it at 2, and we got our only goal of the second so far with Trevor Lewis. So it's a second power play here for the Flames. We'll see what they do with it. Jonathan Huberdeau's pass. Now Elias Lindholm has it toward the right side red line. They're just going to play this off the embankment as it goes back to Huberdeau. Former Panther now gets it from Rasmus Andersson as they drop, and Rasmus able to hold this in, and then it gets cleared down the ice. So that looked a little dangerous in the sense of what could happen, but Toronto didn't want to go ahead and forecheck this thing as Anderson's going to leave it here for Elias Lindholm, former Carolina Hurricane. He was a good pickup several seasons ago. Huberdeau off the backhand. He falls down. Leaves it for Anderson. Slips nice slide. Goes off the left side of the bar off the rebound. And now this goes now for Lindholm. He's in the high slot. Huberdeau. They wanted to cross it, but Nazem Kadri couldn't pick it up off the escape lane. It's with Rasmus now. High shot. That was a good stop by Matt Murray, and that was a heck of a shot there by Anderson.
Ooh, 84 mile per hour bullet on that last shot by Anderson. Tough one as well, and that last shot before Anderson got that one. Ooh, man, some good chances by Calgary on this power play. Unfortunately, it just hit the left post and it stayed out.
So, quickly here, Alec, do you really blame any of these goaltenders right now on any of these goals against?
I really don't, considering the last goal by Matt Murray. It was a surprise shot. He wasn't expecting that. Oh, what a save by Murray on that last shot. But Murray overall, in that last one, here might be a short answer. Yes, no. Murray on that last goal, he wasn't expecting that. It was a surprise shot by Trevor Lewis. So I wasn't expecting that either, considering how far it was and how far it was.
No, I agree with you. I think these goalies have done about as good as they possibly could. I think you're just looking at 2 offenses, like we're both saying, that are on it right now. That's really is all you can say is Ruzicka gets the entry, trying to get around TJ Brody. It's on the left side of the red line. Centered out dangerously in front. It was stopped by Murray off the one-timer from Andrew Mangiapane. Mangiapane will hold. Leave now here for Hannafin as he drops it to Ruzicka. Ruzicka. Now Mangiapane. Hannafin plays crisscross. Mangiapane again with a 1-T. This one was a little bit more safe and stopped by Matt Murray.
Oh, that was a dangerous opportunity on Mangiapane, that last one around. He was all alone right in front of the slot. Nobody picked him up as Radim Zohorna fed it to Mangiapane. Matt Murray with the save to turn away that opportunity. And that second chance, that was a more safer chance for Mangiapane. So less dangerous chance, but 2 great chances for Calgary. Mangiapane, especially on that first one, but we are still at a 3-2 game.
So David Kampf lost the defensive zone draw. More puck possession here for the Flames. They've been good with it here today. Waiting is Weegar for the cannon, but the pass never got to him. Another shot just got deflected, and the Leafs will get this down. The penalties effectively killed, but the best killer on that one was Matt Murray with some spectacular stops, as Lewis has the latest goal from Backlund, as we mentioned. But now here's a 3-on-3 developing, as Hannon's going to hold this one for Toronto. It's loose in the slot. Vladar doesn't know where it is, but he got bailed out by his defense as that went dangerously across the blue paint and cleared down the ice. So good job by the Flames there, but the job's not done as this goes off the left pad of Vladar. Now Michael Bunting trying to leave it in for Matthews as they crisscross. Liljegren will get that pass down as Bunting had canceled off the puck. Picked up now by Nylander. Nylander going to drop this one, but to nobody in particular. It's going to go to the Flames. And the Flames have puck possession as they dump this one across the red line with 5:20 left in the second. They're just taking a 3-2 lead. The shots are tied at 15 apiece, but it feels like a lot more, Alec, on that side because these chances have been dangerous. Now this is on the right side of the red line. Hannafin will answer as he gets it back. I'll play it to his defensive forwards. And now this goes with Timothy Liljegren as it goes back on the other end for Toronto. So see if Sheldon Keefe squad can go left or right across your radio dial. Now Pontus Holmberg gets worked off the puck. Canceled in behind the net by Nazem Kadri as Joey Andersson had to take a hit near the head. Dylan Dubé, the pass was a little bit too far for him. It's 9-6. Watching this on Sportsnet from the CBC side. 29-27 are the shot attempts, 9-6 in the second period in favor of Calgary as we're at 15 apiece. Nazem Kadri, the 1-4 checker. Dylan Dubé comes all the way back to win this toward the right side of the red line. Huberdeau gets worked off the puck, and now this goes back to the Flames. Picked up now. Spun around a couple times is Dylan Dubé. Still trying to make something happen with the help of Chris Tanev. As this is in behind the office, Andrew Mangiapane and Dubé, they're doing some yeoman's work right now as they'll go D-to-D. Mackenzie Weegar. And that drop pass nutmeg Nazem Kadri a little bit went between his legs as Weegar got knocked down hard. This is still on the other side with the Flames as they go D-to-D. Backlund off the backhand, and he lost it, and this goes down the ice. So the Flames will get a chance to pick this one back up with Nikita Zadorov. 3:40 left to go in the second. We've had some nonstop action. Adam Ruzicka, this is played nicely out of the air, and that one goes just wide as the rookie, I think, got hooked there for the Flames, but no call. It's still underneath the play right now, and that was a good job by Backlund just to negate a possible breakaway as Phillips got hit in the face.
Oh, you mentioned no call there. Matthew Phillips, the caller from the AHL, who's second in the minors in goals. Well, man, talk about more good chances for the Calgary on the other end of the ice. And, oh, man, what a game this has been.
Yes, it has. And like I said, from everybody in here watching on the Twitter Spaces, if they follow along YouTube, if they've been in here, YouTube's been active and decent, but this is going to be on hopefulsportsguy.wordpress.com. We'll have the full game coverage with the play-by-play on the recorder. So we're going to have our back and forth here between myself and Alec Nava tonight, who I'm very glad they could join me with this. I don't think Cooper Hopkins is going to be able to cover this game. If he does come in here, Alec, I'll probably have him take this third period and do the call because I know it is his team. But if he does not, like I said, it's going to be you and I the rest of the way. I'm just happy to have you join me here today and have some fun with this. And like I said, from the next week's side, I know I have a MIHL game to the local rink by my house on Saturday side, so I'll be on location for that. But probably over the next coming weeks, I'll try to jump in with you and see what you're covering, and I'll handle some of the color, and you can work the play-by-play. Whatever game you cover, we can have some fun with it.
Hey, I'd be open for that.
That sounds good to me then, because at least this is going to be a lot of fun. It's always nice to have a couple extra broadcast partners so we're not having to do all these coverages solo all the time.
Oh, man.
So it's 3-2 is our score line with 3:29 left. I'm getting a sip of water myself as we're getting a little bit of a commercial break. It was 4 goals in the first period, just 1 in the second. Trevor Lewis from Michael Backlund at 11-11 is giving Calgary a 3-2 lead.
As you see the CN Tower being lighting up in Christmas colors, the green and red.
I know I never lived in Canada and I've only crossed the bridge once, but people tell me in Edmonton that it gets very, very cold, and I don't know. For Michigan, it already gets cold enough. I don't know if I could deal with minus 30 type of weather. So we'll go back now to 3:10 in the second as the pass is dangerous, but it's picked off now by the Maple Leafs. William Nylander will get this one down. and picked up Bunting. Worked off the puck. Now this goes back to Rasmus Andersson. Rasmus Andersson will just play this to an open wing as this gets collected now by Blake Coleman. And Coleman will get it down toward the right side as Trevor Lewis will try to get to it. But here's a good entry here for Nylander. Nylander trying to go 1-on-2. Instead, he's just going to rattle it around the kick plate. Chance for Adam Ruzicka to get some time. This is dangerous out in the middle of the slot. Fired and scores! Maple Leafs tie at 3.
And guess who? William Nylander.
I might have lost Alec there for a minute. Hopefully it bounces back in. It was William Nylander. 3-3. Don't think that got tipped out in front. I know Auston Matthews was there as well. But still, Tanev lost it in between his skates. Off the backhand, it might have actually hit Tanev and went into the net. Good shot there by Nylander.
Oh, yeah, they deflected off of Tanner right in front. And, yep, Nylander, as I was saying, the puck has eyes, and it pinballed its way through and past Vladar. We're tied again?
So as we're tied again, and I do have Alec back now, I just wanted to make sure that everyone else had that call and everything else is good. So we're good now. Sometimes Elon will mess with some of these Twitter spaces, and sometimes it temporarily knocks us off course there for a second, but he is back. 17th goal of the season is all upended in the air. There was Sandin as he got worked in behind the boards. That was a big time hit as the hybrid icing is touched up with 212.
Man, he got rocked on the plate, but holy moly, it's Tyler Toffoli.
That was a great hit on the other side, and an even better goal as we just get another look at it there, Alec. What a ripper that was in the high slot by Nylander.
And Tanner was trying to block this off as he got right in front of Vladar. He's a defense-first guy, but it took an unfortunate bounce off of him and right into the net as we go back into that.
So Majapani's wrister gets blocked off by the Maple Leafs. All of a sudden now it's a 3-3 game. Here's a break the other way for Bolgan. And that was answered by Vladar. As that was an opportunity. The Flames don't really want to concede another one. It's back to 3-3, 2 goals apiece in this second period. Long glove clear there from Kadri. As Murray's going to take no chances and hold. But Dan Vladar, he answers the bell there. Maybe it wasn't a difficult save, but it was a much needed one there, Alec.
It was a partial breakaway on Morgan's part as he got the bank feed from Tavares. And Vladar, he's been solid throughout this match. Was well aware and anticipated the partial breakaway of Morgan, turned it away with the right pad, and still tied at 3. So that's the second shot tonight, Morgan, as we get another face-off here, right to the right of Matt Murray.
So Toronto, they're going to answer their defensive end with a draw win, and that's all important right now as this gets gloved down by Rasmus Andersson, but only partially as Zach Aston Reese, former Penguin, out there right now on the fourth line for Sheldon Keefe squad. Elias Lindholm just cross-checked David Camp up 5 times trying to battle for that puck as Justin Hall has this one deep. Zach Aston Reese, it's played off of a skate, but kept in nicely by Aston Reese, and he shot one right on that was answered by Vladar, now toward the left side of the red line. $1:10 left to go in this second. We are tied at 3, 18 shots to 16 in favor of the Leafs. This has been a back-and-forth contest. As this is picked up now, Bunting tried to center it out in front, long outstretched pass, Tyler Toffoli. It's a 3-on-2, but it's 2 for the Flames. Shot answered by Murray. Off just an outstretched pass there toward the right side dot, and this goes now to David Camp as we're under a minute remaining. 40 seconds left to go as Timmins will get this one picked up now by the Flames. Flames in their own end. Play this off the lively end boards a couple of times, and Adam Ruzicka now gets this toward the right side dot. Picked up by Uyghur toward the neutral zone as this deflects in between a couple of Maple Leafs. Play with the high stick. And we're going to get a stoppage. Just under 20 seconds left to go. It's a 3-3 tie. Alec, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I think we can both give our thoughts on this. Is this a case of next goal wins, or are we going to see more offense on both sides?
I it was becoming at that point where it's going to be next goal wins, considering the defense of both teams really standing out on both sides. Don't let the score fool you. Both teams have been really good defensively, and they've been matching it really good offensively. Although we saw more of that offense in the first period than we are in the second period.
I agree with you. I think I'll play devil's advocate on one side here, Alec, because you're correct. But everything that we're seeing, that is the right assessment. I think we might be looking at a 5-4 final, maybe even an overtime. That's what I'm feeling right now. And if we get 3-on-3 with these two teams, that would be spicy. So a neutral zone face-off win. Nylander will get it down deep. As Rasmus Andersson will play it, that's effectively going to cancel out the second period. We are tied just like we were after the first, except now it's 3-3.
Oh, man. I live for games like these. Tight offensive and defensive matches when it comes to this. You see a mix of offense and defense. Well, we're getting both here. 3-3 after 2.
So it depends on what you want to do here, Alec. If you want to go ahead and take a second intermission, I might have to go ahead and take a little bit of break myself here for a couple minutes, and then we can reconvene back in the third if that sounds good with you.
All right. So we're looking for the scoring updates here. So Carolina on the board against the Islanders. It's Paul Stastny notching his first of this season, assisted by Andrei Svechnikov and Brady Shea. 14 shots to 9 in favor of the Hurricanes against the Islanders at UBS Arena. And the Hurricanes controlling 52% of draws there. Neither side has converted on the power play thus far, though the Islanders at the advantage of hits 15-8. But the Hurricanes have one more block shot than the Islanders, equal up to 10. So elsewhere around the league, the Penguins still up 2-0 after 2 periods. The score remains the same as it was for the first period. The goals from Rickard Rakell and Sidney Crosby being the only two that stand up there. The assist of Rakell's goal came from Evgeny Malkin and Crosby, and that one came on the power play. Crosby's goal assisted by Jake Gensel and Brian Dumoulin, and that came on a backhand shot. It's 22-21, the shots in favor of the Penguins, as the Penguins also control 63% of the draws, and 32-22 the hits for the Penguins. This young Buffalo team looking to climb up the standings, though they have lost last. In overtime, called for Max County after a splash on 2-0 against the Montreal Canadiens as they are in the second intermission. Anze Kopitar starting assist number 22 or number 22. And then, just 19 seconds later, Victor Arvidsson with his 8th of the year going up 2-0 for the Kings. He assists on Philip Deneau and Mikey Anderson. So the Kings 23-15 on shots. Both teams dead even at the face-off circle. Neither side has scored on the power play in 6 opportunities combined. The Habs 17-13 in hits. Kings 10-8 in blocks. To go on the final scores, the Ottawa Senators knocking off the Nashville Predators 3-2 earlier today. It is Drake Batherson notching the eventual game winner on the power play. That made it 3-1. Though it wasn't until Dino Niederreiter notched his 10th of the year to make the final score 3-2 Ottawa. So Batterson's goal is by Brady Tkachuk. Batterson got the first star tonight. Shane Pinto, second star. Niederreiter, third star of the match of his goal that made it a one-score game. So he shots in that match 33-29 Ottawa. The Senators converted on both 2 of their 6 power plays. The first one being a Claude Giroux backhand shot with 8 seconds to go in the second period and tied the game after Yakov Trena opened the scoring. Alex DeBrincat got the lead for Ottawa, and they never looked back. Then also earlier today is the Dallas Stars beating the Detroit Red Wings 3-2 in overtime. It was Dylan Larkin who started the scoring. Denis Gurianov answered the call right at the tail end of the first period. Jamie Benn got a goal on the power play in the second period. That's answered exactly 3 minutes later by David Perron to tie the game with 1 minute left in the second period. And then Nils Lundqvist with his third goal of the year that ended it. 31 seconds left in overtime. The assist from Mason Marchment. Stars 33-26, the shots on goal advantage, control 55% of the faceoffs. The lone power play conversion by them, out of 4 opportunities for them, 6 opportunities total in this game. This is despite the Red Wings leading in hits 27-13, blocks 14-11. Also, we also got another final score. The Tampa Bay Lightning did not go to overtime as it did in a previous match beforehand. So the Lightning leading the battle of Florida 2-0 thus far. The lone goal by Florida by Zach Dalby is second of the year. The Tampa goes by Pat Maroon, Braden Point, Mikhail Sergachev, and Steven Stamkos. Andrei Vasilevsky was sharp in net, turning away 24 of 25 shots from Florida. And so far, the Panthers still fighting for a playoff spot. They're just 3 points out of a wild card spot. That's 3 behind the Rangers, 2 behind the Red Wings.
All right, I am back. I appreciate that look around the league there, Alec. If you want to, you can go ahead and take play-by-play for the third, but if you want to hang out and do the rest of the color stuff, you can do that as well. But again, when I do join you next time, that'll be full color duties for me. But that's totally up to you right now as we're looking on the CBC side of Chris Letang and his return to the lineup. So again, as we talk about in the first intermission, that is definitely good news and good to see because for as well as Chris Letang has played last year, I think all that stuff is just going to continue. And those 3 guys, as we mentioned, between Crosby, Malkin, and Letang are as good as it gets. Doesn't matter how old they are.
Aging like fine wine, this trio, longest tenured trio in all professional sports, tying the New York Yankees of Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, and Jorge Posada, as just mentioned earlier at the start of the season. And this trio really well. They got 3 Stanley Cups to their name. As we take a look at Jeff Skinner suspended 3 games for cross-checking Jake Gensel, and that led to the match noted by him. Boneheaded decision by Skinner on there. We take also another look around the league, and Jamie Oleksiak, he gets 3 games for an elbow to the head on Alexia. So, and that he got a 5-minute major and a game misconduct for that. Washington fans cheering his ejection on that, and honestly, that was well deserved considering how dangerous that hit was.
I saw that one, Alec, actually live when I was flipping through some of the games the other day, and yeah, that was a lead with the elbow there for Oleksiak, and for as big as he is, it doesn't take much to be able to hurt somebody like that. So I agree with you. I think the 3 games probably makes the right move. And are they talking about on the other side for Elliot Freeman about a Jesse Puljujärvi trade? Is that what I'm seeing there possibly? I mean, for Ken Holland, I know the former GM of the Detroit Red Wings, especially in the glory days before the salary cap, good GM on that side. But when the salary cap started to happen, he just kind of bolted after the Red Wings streak and went to Edmonton. You got Connor McDavid, you got Leon Draisaitl. But when you're making some of the other moves, I know the Jack Campbell thing hasn't worked out. The Brett Kulak thing has kind of been eh. Darnell Nurse is a decent defender, right? I'm not going to dispute that. But it's a lot of money on the cap again. And what I'm alluding to, Alec, is in a couple more seasons, you got to figure out what the hell you're going to do with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in those contract situations.
Yeah, you got to wonder about that considering their cap hits. McDavid, 12.5 per year. That's the second highest in the league, second to Nathan McKinnon, who now is the owner of the highest cap hit in the entire league. Leon Draisaitl, 8.5. Big gamble by Peter Chiarelli, the previous GM of the Edmonton Oilers. Looked like a bad deal back then, but certainly aging like a fine wine since then, as he's the top 5 player in the league. But when you talk about Jesse Puljujärvi, he's been very iffy this season. 6 points in just 28 games. So you had the trade discussions. They have been going back and forth. Considering last season, he had 36 points in 65 games. He's more of a defensive guy, but considering that he's the former 4th overall pick, he's got to have his offensive game going. And knowing that he has just 1 goal among those 6 points.
No, you're right about that. It almost makes me forget about that because Jesse Puljujärvi and Taylor Hall, it wasn't even that many years ago, right? That was pick number 1, pick number 4 over the last few years and things like that. So Edmonton has had a lot of fruitful picks here, and they finally hit on some of these. But again, I don't want to be disingenuous because I know you're not disagreeing with me. We know what Connor McDavid is and Leon Draisaitl are worth, and I'm glad you said top 5 because I feel like I might be the only other person that consistently says I think he's a top 5 player, and that's without Connor McDavid. I think everybody always talks about Leon Draisaitl's numbers because he plays with Connor. I think he's that damn good even without him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And he has stepped up his game over these past few seasons. If I recall, he was a Hart winner in 2020.
Yeah.
It was a close battle between him and Artemi Panarin for that award. But it was very close, those two.
So as I know you went through the league schedule and some of the other standings and scores and all that, I appreciate it. The only other game I see that we're going to have late are the Wild and the Canucks, and I guess those two teams are going to live up to their name because an over-under I think now just sits at 6.5, which is usually about the average of what we have in the NHL. I would push that over button between these two teams. I think there's going to be a lot of goals scored. And I know I saw this from a few days ago, but with Kirill Kaprizov in Minnesota, I think he's now the franchise leader in goals, assists, and points. And dare I say it, he might be the best player ever in Minnesota's history, and it's not even that long.
Yeah, it didn't take long for him to pass Mikko Koivu for best player in Wild franchise history, considering all the hype that he has been living up to coming over from the KHL. He's played professional leagues for some time there, and now he's translating that game well into the NHL, considering that he was a rookie 2 seasons ago, won the Calder almost unanimous. That one low first place vote that he didn't get went to Jason Robertson. And he's been living up to the hype thus far. Why we're going to have to keep pieces to build around him, though. That's the thing.
I got to let everybody know in here, too, if you listen to this stuff late or whatever it is, I got an encyclopedia here with me on the broadcast, and I really appreciate that for the Alec Nava side of it because, yeah, he's throwing a lot of stuff there that I don't even have on the top of my head. So that's what I'm saying. He's got a lot of other strengths that I don't have in the sense of it, and this is a good pairing on the broadcast side. And for Kirill Kaprizov, I will say this, too, with the GM, Bill Guerin, I think they did the right thing with the buyout side for Zach Parise and Ryan Sutter because you had to. And I understand from the years ago why they made those moves, but you just don't want to be a team that always like just barely makes the playoffs or lose in the first round. But also, Bill Guerin, you kind of also handcuff yourself a little bit, right? Because you have Kirill Kaprizov, you want to make sure you have enough money to be able to keep him signed and locked in. But it really is all systems go here for the Wild, and if it doesn't work out over the next couple seasons, I mean, what else can they really do? Aren't they kind of stuck against the cap and things like that?
Well, who knows? Considering the contracts that both Parise and Sutter signed back at the 2012 free agency period,
Right.
13 years in total, each of them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you may be right on one thing about buying both of them out. Even though it might get them into a streaky situation in the middle of future after those buyouts, at the long term, immediately after those middle terms, they'll be much safer on, and they can get the key pieces that they want to get.
Yeah, no, I agree because I think that's what they had to go for. Again, with the buyouts and stuff, we know it's going to extend the length of how much you're going to have to pay, but I think you had to do that. And it just, when you have a generational player like Kaprizov, and it certainly seems like Matt Zuccarello is relishing in the fountain of youth, as it were, because he loves playing with him. When you're playing with some great playmakers, it makes players a hell of a lot better. I mean, hell, if you want to switch teams that just won the recent Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche, when you go ahead and you get Arturi Lehkonen and some of those other pieces like that, and you play them alongside a Nathan McKinnon or a Mikko Rantanen, it ends up working well. I know that the Avalanche have about, I mean, Alec, we can go through this. I went over this a little bit with Cooper before from a few days ago. It's a laundry list of injuries here for Colorado, but they're going to get most of their pieces back around the middle of January. So do you still think, like me and maybe a lot of us, that Colorado is going to be just fine? They just need to play somewhere around 500 hockey for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I feel Colorado's going to be fine considering they're going to get pieces back. Valerie Nichushkin just came back from his injury.
He did.
They're going to get Gabriel Landeskog back soon. David McKinnon, he'll miss about 4 weeks of action, so they're going to have to be around the 500 grasp to have a chance. So they're going to be fine.
So, any other concerns about? I guess I won't. I know there isn't one, but for the Tampa Bay Lightning, you go for back-to-back Stanley Cups. You win two. That core, they kept a lot of that stuff together there. They had some good signings with Mikhail Sergachev. They get everyone else locked up there as well. Their Chernak and all those other things like that. Is Tampa still one of the best teams in the East, and they're going to be here for a long time coming, or when do you think their run is going to end?
Well, who knows when their run is going to end, but as long as you got the core together, you're going to have a chance. They were the first seed in the Atlantic last season. They made it to the Stanley Cup final because their core is still sticking around.
Right.
They lost Braden Point in the playoffs in Game 7 in the first round, and he was limited in the Stanley Cup final, but they still got that chance because they got guys like Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov. They lost Andre Palat this offseason, but as long as you got the coaching and the core still around, Anthony Cirelli coming back from his injury, their top defensive forward, yeah, you're going to have that chance as long as they're all around. So I feel that they're going to be fine. The standings in the regular season won't show it, but when playoff time comes, that chance will come for them.
I think that's what we can also agree on the same spot because we just talk about Colorado and talk about Tampa. I agree with you. I think they'll end up being fine. I guess while you're on here too, any other concerns possibly for last year's President Trophy winners in the Florida Panthers?
Oh, man. I expected them to regress to a wild card. The defensive toll that's taken with the loss of Mackenzie Weegar and getting for Matthew Tkachuk. Oh boy, when you're getting a 100-point player for another 100-point player, usually you wouldn't want to trade one of your best defensemen. But I don't know what Bill Zito was thinking when he made that trade.
So here's the thing for me, and I'll just speak to it from what I saw from the playoff spot of it. We know how good Florida was last year, and all the points that you made were correct. And most of the stuff want to cut in and out there a little bit, but we did. I got everything that you were throwing out there. So it was a sweep to the big brother in the Tampa Bay Lightning in the playoffs. Andrew Burnett had this team rolling pretty well. He ends up getting canned. They bring in Paul Maurice. So Florida does not look like the same team that they did last year. Alec, to me, it seemed like they could be down 3 or 4 goals in the third period, and they're either going to come back and tie it and win in overtime, or they'll win outright. I don't know if a little bit of that's on Paul Maurice. I don't know if a little bit of that is, like you said, between Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar. But I will say this. Maybe they end up making those moves because they know that they couldn't sign those guys long term because they could have been up against it. But Matthew Tkachuk is a heck of a player to get, so it certainly feels like he's fitting in the rest of it. They got Barkov back from a couple days ago, but it does not feel like the same Florida Panthers team that it did last year.
Definitely not. And as you mentioned about not being able to sign those guys long term, you mentioned the cap space. And whatever cap held that they're going to face whenever they sign those guys long term, and that could be a problem considering the career years both of them had and the previous cap is that they were carrying when having those career years.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, when you look at it on the other side, we're talking about some of the same players. Now they're all long cap hits here for Brad Treliving and Calgary Flames. And boy, were they not shy to go ahead and make that move. And then they also signed Nazem Kadri, I believe, for another 6. So the Flames are all in. We're getting a look at it right now as we're going to be starting the third period of Dan Vladar and Jacob Markstrom. They're supposedly having one of the best goaltender relationships in all of hockey. Again, it's been Vladar's net over the recent stretch because Markstrom hasn't had that same level of consistency that he had last year. But I'd make no mistake about it when I look at between Markstrom and Vladar, you have a heck of a goaltending tandem. And I also think you have a heck of a goaltending tandem on the side of Elias Samsonov and Matt Murray. Kind of makes Kyle Dubas look like a genius.
Yeah, as he moved on from Jack Campbell last season, the tandem with Jack Campbell, Peter Mrazek, it looked very off at times. Mrazek, as he landed himself in Chicago, he isn't exactly that guy in net, as most people would tell by the eye test. The addition of Murray and Samsonov, they've been certainly upgrades for them, as it's seen so far this season as we get underway in the third period.
So Mangiapane, gets that one knocked away, and I appreciate you, Alec, talking with me and carrying that first half of the intermission while I was away as well. True professional on that side, as this one goes all the way down the ice. Sometimes for me, maybe I'm not so much, but I try. As this is now near the right side of the red line, Mulligan will watch this now for Marner. Marner's going to go back to his defensive end with Rasmus Sandin as they'll play pitch and catch here. As we're 19:15 in the start of the third period, John on here with you, joined by Alec Nava. We got the play-by-play and color respectively. Long wrist shot there by Matthews. That was a little bit of a bullet as it took a weird carom. I didn't even know where it was. It bounced off the left side of the cage there. Dan Vladar, and now back. Mangiapane will get this across the red line now and down. This finds the goal stick of Matt Murray. He just plays a backwards pass as the Maple Leafs are going to look to go right to left in this period. They got the all blue jerseys with the white lettering, and the Calgary Flames will go left to right with the red pants and the white jerseys on the top. Uyghur's got it now. Former Florida Panthers. We're just talking about those trades. He's going to look to quarterback this thing across the red line, get that dump in. This could be a good opportunity for the fourth line with Trevor Lewis, as this is picked up off the backhand and canceled off the puck there by Brody, as it's dumped across the Maple Leafs logo. It's a 3-3 game. 18-20 left to go in the third. 19 shots to 18 in favor of the Calgary, but the scoreline remains locked. Kerfoot with an outstretched pass as Maple Leafs stay on side, and good entry, good setup there, good save by Vladar as we get a stoppage with 18-13.
Oh, man. Another good entry by the Maple Leafs as that one shot by Vladar got stopped. It was a good chance. He was wide open in the slot there. Vladar, he knew where that puck was going.
Yes, he did. I think both of these goalies, as we talk about, if you're not watching this game, if you're just listening along or wherever else you're taking it all in, if you look on the outside of the box score, the score lines will tell you something different. But these goaltenders, they've been on it right now, and they've had to make some difficult saves. And I think a 3-3 score line could be a lot worse if these goaltenders weren't playing as good as they are. So Rasmus Andersson gets knocked down. He's still able to be strong enough to keep that alive, and it's a tripping against the Maple Leafs. That'll give the Calgary Flames their third power play of the evening.
Easy call there for the officials as Andersson got knocked down into the neutral zone. And I believe this is Wayne Simmons. He was trying to go for the puck right there. Unfortunately, he caught Andersson's skates as Andersson was trying to take this into the opposite zone. Let's see this one more time. Yeah, Andersson with a good reach to the outside. So I'm going to give credit to Andersson for drawing this penalty. So good awareness by him to take this across, reach it out to the outside so that Simmons doesn't have a chance of poking this puck away and get the Flames back on the power play right here.
So at the 2:07 marker, it's Simmons with tripping, and the faceoff's one between the legs. Now it's a chance for Marner to be able to kill some time on the penalty kill. He beats 3 Flames to the puck, and then strong enough on the forehand to be able to buy some more time. So good kill there by Marner. He took about 15 seconds away by himself. Nazem Kadri trying to get around Mark Giordano. As this goes around the kick plate, Flames can't hold it in as this goes all the way down. Dan Vladar will touch the puck now near the left side faceoff dot. And Rasmus Andersson has it now. Spin move in behind his own net as he gets around Alexander Kerfoot. We'll drop this now for Nazem Kadri. Tyler Toffoli lost it as this one goes back down. Dan Vladar will play this now and behind the office. He's just going to leave it right in the middle of the trapezoid. And the Flames will attempt to get going left to right. There's nothing going on right now in their third power play. Is Hannafin with the drop pass to one of the forwards as we get a shot of the Zebras there inadvertently. Tripped down is Hannafin. Picked up here by the Maple Leafs and David Camp. Although it's 3 Flames to 1 Maple Leaf as this one goes down the ice across the neutral zone. This is picked up here by Hannafin. 23 out of 26 in the last 9 games. Maple Leafs on the kill. Pretty good numbers right now. As this is still with the Flames. Knuckle puck goes right to Matt Murray and held. And the Flames are very angry about something, but I didn't catch what it was, Alec.
Well, I don't know what this was about the Flames getting angry about this, but oh man, that was a really good kill-off by Mitch Marner. The first 15 seconds of that power play for Calgary. Man, that was a great individual effort in the defensive side of things. So you see here,
oh my goodness.
You see the puck cross the goal line.
It did.
Look at this.
The puck crossed the goal line, and they blew the whistle before it crossed. So, Alec, I mean, from the long and stretch and short of this answer, this has to be a goal. But if they blow the whistle before that, does that completely nullify this goal no matter what?
Well, in Game 6 of the 2017 Stanley Cup Final, it seemed that Matt Murray was in a situation very similar to this beforehand. Game 6 of the 2017 Stanley Cup Final, when Colton Sissons poked the puck through the net, but the play was whistled dead before Sissons got it across because one of the officials lost sight of the puck before it went to the net. No goal was called there. But here, it seemed the puck went through Murray's 5-hole. Matthew Phillips is complaining about this as we get a call here. We have here.
And we have a goal! Matthew Phillips! Power play goal for the Calgary Flames. And I think the right call was made there, Alec.
Oh, this is a complete 180 from what it was beforehand because I thought the whistle was blown dead beforehand. So I thought this play was going to get nullified. As we get a shot of Noah Hanneman right in the bench, Sheldon Keefe wants an explanation of this, but he gets confirmation from the officials from this. And let's see here. Oh my goodness.
Bunting stops one in front. I cut a little bit of Alec's audio, but does come back in there. We'll catch up with him. I know that this puck went through, and we were talking about the intent to blow the whistle. That was what some of the issues were there, and that's probably what the Flames and Sheldon Keefe are trying to figure out. I think the right call was made, but I do agree with Alec on the beginning side of it in the sense of, look, if the whistle was blown before that puck goes in, that's not going to count as a goal. So you could understand why Toronto would be a little bit upset, but you could also understand, too, on the Calgary aspect of it, that puck's in, and it's clear as plain as day. So 15:55, we'll have to go on the third. Matthew Phillips has given the Flames a 4-3 lead.
Oh, to correct you on that is actually Hannafin's goal.
Hannafin.
He was the one who last touched it.
I appreciate that there, Alec, because we're back with you on that side. So everything that was good on your end, we were maybe thinking the goal maybe should or should not stand, but the intent to blow the whistle is the one argument that Toronto's going to have, correct?
Yeah, that's the intent to blow the whistle. The argument that Toronto will have towards their favor, but that's all about into that. So the intent to blow the whistle, the puck was behind Murray. As one shot went wide, rebound picked up by Toronto.
Another shot. This one goes up and out of play. So we'll have some stuff to talk about, although you and I will probably say this fairly. I don't think it's anything too controversial, but I totally get why Toronto would be upset. But I think I would feel even worse if I'm Calgary knowing that puck was in. But that really, in all intents and purposes, should not have beaten Matt Murray. That was a bad one to give up.
Yeah, it was a very ugly goal by Murray. As he did not have control of the puck 100% of it. 90% of it, all right. What about 100%? 90% most of the time is not good enough. And he got beat by the remaining 10%.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that, as Matt Murray will play this in between the referee, as this goes back now between the Toronto Maple Leaf logo. Now Akina Zadorov will check up in behind the office of Vladar. All of a sudden now the Flames have another one-goal lead, but this has been a back-and-forth affair, as Alec and I have witnessed, and we don't know who's going to take it just yet, but that was a critical goal there for the Flames. Dylan Dubé. This is off the backhand. It was a little dangerous, but an offside entry here. Nazem Kadri. 15:02, we get a stoppage.
And I wonder what this is all about.
So I thought about it, and I know Alex said it a little bit. I asked him the question there. Is this going to be the next goal wins? Calgary's got the next goal. I was playing the devil's advocate and going 5-4. So this really can go either way right now. I appreciate everyone that's looking on the YouTube side and Twitter Spaces here with Alex side as I get a message from Dawson's Sports Corner podcast. What's going on, buddy? How are you doing? As this puck is in the middle of the right faceoff dot, now collected by the Flames and Nazem Kadri. Now near the right side red line, as Dubé tries to get a piece of it. A shot goes blocker side and high as this bounces off the inboards, back in behind the Flames now. Leafs will collect, get this one down the ice. Flames now get it to the neutral zone. Active stick checks, and Nazem Kadri offside one more time. 14:28 in the third.
Oh yeah, you talk about Kadri offside. Yeah, he crossed the blue line before the play was being set up, and he was. Well, to be fair for him, I think it was sort of taken down before the play. It went towards the offensive side. I don't know much about that, but if you take a look at the score around the league, 2-1 Penguins and 1-0 Hurricanes, as both teams, all four of these teams are in the third period of their respective games.
So the Flames will get a shot that gets bounced in between the Maple Leafs right now, picked up by Rasmus Andersson in his own end. Andersson holding off the backhand, 24 road goals this season, tied for 30th in the NHL. I believe that's almost dead last now because there's 32 teams from the Seattle Kraken. So the Sandine will get this one down here toward the left side dot as the Maple Leafs play crisscross. Nylander and slide off the headboards, and the Maple Leafs tie it. Michael Bunting, right place, right time. It's tied at 4.
Johnny on the spot, right in front of the slots, just right in front of Vladar. So the initial shot went wide, and then Bunting got the juicy rebound right in front of Vladar. And everyone in Toronto, all happy that's tied up. Nylander, right in the near corners, when the officials went down, the initial shot from the point, just wide, but it left Bunting right in front. So let's see here. So it went over for. To see here, I'm just trying to get another look at it from the point. Can't really tell who it was exactly. Oh, that was Matthews that was at the point. And then Bunting, just with the nod of a stick, he banks it in. And it's a 4-4 game, everyone.
This is a game, again, back and forth. We could say it many times, but if you're Elias Lindholm, I guess it's unfortunate that the puck went underneath the referee, was able to be matriculated around the boards. And it was a big-time carom, and Michael Bunting was the one that finished it off as we have a 4-4 game into a commercial break. Again, Alec, I know I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. I appreciate you being here on this broadcast. This has been a wild affair between these two Canadian teams, and if you're talking about a Hockey Night in Canada opener, I don't think you're going to get one much more exciting than this one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Considering this back and forth between these two teams, all the action, all the scoring. You got defense, even though the goaltending stats won't really show it. The base stats really don't tell the whole story of the game. Both goalies have been sharp so far, and it shows backing up by their quality saves. There's been one bad goal, if I can remember. That was Matt Murray on that last goal from Calgary on Noah Hannafin.
Yeah.
But that was about the only bad goal that we saw so far in this game. Everything else has been really good hockey that we've been seeing so far.
No, it has. I mean, sometimes you'll get some things that happen. That was certainly one that Matt Murray would like to have back, but in the grand scheme of things, in a game that could go either way, you're seeing effort from two teams that have been absolutely spectacular. Records aside, between 13-11-3 for Calgary and 17-5-6 for Toronto. You could toss those out the window in this game right now because these two teams are hungry. They want it. Everybody is contributing, and this has been an exciting contest. We are getting very close to the action here as they're showing Jersey and the Maple Leafs as they're having some chirping from their previous contests. And Toronto, over the last few, Alec, we talk about it coming into this contest, they were outscoring their last two opponents 11-0.
Man, considering they won their last two games in shutouts, won by Matt Murray 4-0 against Dallas Stars, ending Jason Robertson's 18-game point streak. And that was an impressive run by Robertson, but Murray has been on one in his last game against Dallas, and then that's followed up with a 5-0 shutout win in which Elias turned away all 29 Kings shots.
Yes, it has. This looks like a completely different contest here for Toronto right now, but they're in the thick of it, and they're right here for a chance to be able to take a point and possibly two. It's a good contest we have right now at Scotiabank Arena. It's 4-4. TJ Brody with an outstretched pass. This one is going to be a race for it. Try to get won by Christopher Tanev. He got worked off the puck. It's going to fall right to John Tavares off the backhand. And the Flames just trying to find this between a couple of skates, but it goes D to D. Long outstretched pass. Try to find Marner. And now this goes around the right side red line. Picked up by Toronto again as they'll settle it down. Sandin with a bid. That one goes wide to the right side post. And now picked up by the Toronto defense again. They got him near the right side dot. All sorts of space to be able to shoot. TJ Brody settled it down. It's Marner in the high slot for looking for Mulligan. And that one goes above the goal stick. And now it's Matthew Phillips, the latest goal scorer there. Phillips going to let one go, and he just tried to shoot the right side of the bar. That was a good-looking shot there for Phillips. But that one goes a little wide. Picked up now by number 34, Auston Matthews. He's always dangerous, the mustachioed man. He's got it now near the right forehand as they'll just put it around the inboards. Dan Vladar holding on to that left post now as he's down in the 5-hole trying to anticipate any rebounds. Noah Hannafin as this is near the left side of the faceoff dot. It gets pried loose by Matthews. Matthews, one of the best two-way forwards that we have in the league, not to mention his incredible goal-scoring prowess as he crisscrosses a few times, still keeps this alive on the forehand, showing his stick handle. Nylander will let this one go. And now it's picked up by Michael Bunting, trying to leave it here for Nylander. Here comes Matthews, but he gets canceled off by Lindholm. And now the other way it goes with Tyler Toffoli toward the forehand. Now toward the right dot, looking for the backhanded pass. And that one got knocked away. 11:30 or thereabouts left to go in this third period. John here with you on the play-by-play, joined by Alec, Nava, and color. It's Scotiabank Arena right now between Toronto and Calgary, tied at 4. Toffoli gets this behind the net as this gets saved by Zadorov. Zadorov, cross pass here for Tanev. Tanev letting it go to the screen. Tried to get deflected by Toffoli, but it didn't look so sure. As this is near the right side red line, Bunting gets worked over again. Mark Giordano gets knocked down on his wallet as this gets picked up now by Toffoli. And now Dylan Dubé. Dylan Dubé back to Tanev as they go D to D. Now in a middle pass, it gets picked off. Calgary still got it. Dylan Dubé might power his way with a short side shot. And that got answered by Matt Murray. That was an close opportunity. Dubé still on this thing. Good work by Dubé right now. As he's got another right side dot. Another wrister in the middle of the dots. And that one got answered with the stick of Murray as Matthews will get this one all the way down. Nazem Kadri going to leave it here for the defense. And here he goes. Nazem Kadri into the offensive zone, working his way into the low slot. This one gets sticked aside there by Matt Murray. And here it comes the other way. David Kemp holding off the forehand, looking for the drop pass. That got canceled off at the last second as he tried to find Kerfoot. This goes down to the left side red line here for the Maple Leafs. Picked up by Sandin. Sandin lost it as this goes to the defense here of Calgary and Nikita Zadorov. Blake Coleman trying to find it now, and they'll set it up. So the Flames can take a breath as this is Mackenzie Weegar, and I can too right now, as this goes to the right side of the red line. Great move off the backhand, power move at that. That was a stick lift toe drag between the right side red line. And now Liljegren will get it in his own end. He plays it toward an open boards, and the shot goes just wide to the right post. Here are the Flames again, as we've had nonstop action. This one bounces out in front, picked up by the Flames as Zahora will knock this away. But here it goes, another long wrist shot. This one gets picked up by Marner. Rasmus Andersson just trying to get it out. This gets played by Anna Mrzichka off the backhand. Trevor Lewis will wait for some help, as Zadorov also in there as well. Leafs trying to get it out of their own end, and now they do. Across the Maple Leaf logo and chip this in. About 9:10 left to go in the third. Non-stop action right now, and we'll get Alec's thoughts in a moment, as I'll be able to take my breath once this stops. Now picked up by Michael Backlund. Keeps it alive off the forehand just before it left the neutral zone. Now back D to D. Fake the slapper. Calgary with good puck movement right into the wall of Matt Murray. Go ahead, Alec. Give me your thoughts.
Man, this has been back and forth. Good defense left and right as we look at this last chance by the Flames. Radim Zohorna driving to the net, and then on the other side, Mitch Marner with the shot right in tight, and that's turned away by the edge of the pad by Dan Vladar, the right side.
So we've had 2 goals in the third again, just like we did in the second. The latest goal scorers are Noah Hannafin is third on the power play from Ruzicka and Andrew Mangiapane. Michael Bunting with his fifth. Again, the second-year player that's 26. But again, that probably helps the Maple Leafs as far as their cap considerations. It was Bunting's fifth from Auston Matthews, his 19th apple, with the help of William Nylander to tie it at 4. The latest goal was at the 6:10 marker. So if we go ahead and we take a look at our number of penalties, it's 4 for the Flames. It's 3 for the Maple Leafs. 20 saves out of 24 for Matt Murray, good for .833. And for Dan Vladar, 18 saves out of 22, good for .818. And our team stats, it's 24 shots to 22 in favor of the Flames. And the Flames also have the hit and face-off advantage between 31-23, 27-24 respectively. But the score is not at 4 with 8:53 left in the third. Your scores really quickly, as we had a couple finals. I know Alex went over them, and we can do that again. In the sense of the Ottawa Senators and the Nashville Predators, I saw this a little bit on the Valley Sports Detroit feed between the Stars and the Red Wings, but they talked about it. I think it was Thomas Chabot tried to go ahead and break his stick or something like that, and usually you would do that away from some of your teammates. He ended up hitting Travis Hamonic in the mouth. And the way that it ended up working, they called it a joke, and they said some are teeth, some are here, and some are there, because Travis Hamonic is missing a few of those chiclets. So we'll have to check those highlights when we get a chance to a little bit later if they show that. So we're going to be back into our action here. It is tied at 4, and this is going to be a defensive zone face-off win there by the Flames. And I'm going to pull up the rest of my box score as we had 8:40 left to go in this third. Long shot. This one gets answered by Vladar. He takes a bad bounce in front of him, but the net gets knocked off its moorings. Probably a good thing there for Calgary. Got a little busy there all of a sudden.
Yeah, you mentioned busy. It's been busy all game just so far, and oh my, I need to see this one more time in this. So talk about Mark Giordano moving this up, and then his shot fired on wide, and then Dan Vladar accidentally knocking off his own nets with his right pad, and that stopped any more play right there. And possibly another chance for Toronto to possibly retake this lead.
And we've seen a few bounces off the end boards, have we not, Alec, in the sense of some have turned into goals and some have turned into scary opportunities. So Tavares wins this draw into the screen as this one goes again off the boards. It's centered dangerously in front of the net, but Tavares got pretty much bodied all over. He couldn't get to it. Now there's a chance for Coleman. We'll get this one across the red line now. Mark Giordano will play it. Nazem Kadri as Dylan Dubé tries to get to it with John Tavares. John Tavares will get back now between the right face-off dot as Mark Giordano. He's still stuck in his own net. He gives it to Justin Holl and his defensive partner. And now Auston Matthews is just going to let me take this here for a second before Giordano falls inauspiciously, as either something wrong with the ice surface or a little bit too casual. As we get a dump, it's William Nylander off a one-on-one, and that was a great save by Vladar, and the rebound went right to Rasmus Andersson. Outstretched pass for Tyler Toffoli gets canceled off by Rasmus Sandin, and Sandin plays it now for Michael Bunting. Drop pass here for Matthews. He scored in the previous situation in the first. This one just goes off the stick. Collected now by 34, and he takes a stick to the face, and someone is down and behind the cage of Vladar. Either way, it's going to be a Toronto power play.
And we'll see if this is going to be a 2-minute penalty or a 4-minute penalty, considering he's got, we got a straw right behind Player's net. Some guys having some worse with each other after that altercation. So after that high stick. And Coleman smothering Bunting right near the boards. So as we see the hit totals, Calgary up 32-25 in that category. He's getting a shot of the mustache man, Matthews, some little blood on his lips.
We could be getting a 4-minute against Calgary. There's blood right on the lips, as you said. I wanted to see who fell behind the cage of Vladar. Hopefully they'll show that. That was Bunting also taking a stick to the face. So Bunting and Matthews both got a stick to the face.
So I'm guessing 2 penalties than once, maybe a 5-on-3. So you see Lindholm and Hannafin are the guys who might be getting the penalties here. We'll see who is who in a matter of this as the officials are discussing right at the sentence. Darryl Sutter wanting to know what's going on here. He might not be too pleased with this as Bunting is in the box here after that altercation.
And so my question, Alec, is I understand there was a little bit with Bunting, but I don't think he did enough to warrant getting in the box. But what are they going to call? Let's see. 4-minute high-sticking penalty is going to go against the Flames and Coleman. So this is not what you want right now if you're the Flames. And very easily, we can just tell you, in all honesty, this could be the power play that wins it here for the Maple Leafs. That was blatant and that was obvious. So 7:32 left to go in this tie game, and it is a critical penalty kill upcoming for the Calgary Flames, and however they can do it, they've got to do it now. That's the only thing that you can say. Noah Hannafin, 4-minute double minor for high sticking. And now they're going to review something else.
And we got Lindholm and Bunting getting coincidental minors for roughing as well. But we're going to see something that's under review to determine if this is 4 or 2. You remember, high sticking penalties can be reviewed under these rules. We saw blood from Matthew's lip, so I'm sure this is going to stand as 4. Then it is going to be 2.
So the way that I was always thought about this is if you call a 4, you can downgrade it to a 2. Sometimes if you call a 2, you can't upgrade something else. Sometimes it's the way the officiating works, but they usually works that way with misconducts too. I agree with Alec. This is probably going to be a 4. We don't have anything definitive yet, as they're still putting some tissue there. At least Matthew does. He's got that cut in front of his lips. We definitely saw blood. On the score chyron, it says 2, but I think this is going to be 4 against Hannafin.
Yeah, they're showing double minor on Hannafin, so this is going to be 4. So I think Sportsnet's going to fix this up. So 2 minutes right, it still stands on Sportsnet scoreboard. So yeah, this is going to be a 4 as well. So Matthews, Tavares, Marner, Nylander, and Sandin, the top power play unit for Toronto, out on the ice. As Matthews is having a discussion with the officials over here.
And he's still bleeding there, Alec, no doubt about it. 7:32 left in the third here. This is, again, a big-time kill. The shots are not at 25.
Okay, so I don't know where John has gotten on here. So yeah, you can see him muted. So
We're good now.
You're muted, John.
No, we're good now. My apologies. We're good now. 7:32 left in the third. It's going to be a 4-minute power play again, as I was going to say before I stupidly muted myself. Matthews has still been bleeding. So that's pretty obvious on that side. We're also getting a look of Kyle Dubas as well, as it does get dumped down the ice here by Calgary, and this finds the stick of Matt Murray. Now here's a chance. Rasmus Sandin. We'll see if he's going to leave it here for Auston Matthews, as he got knocked down by Lindholm. And Matthews will go ahead and pick it up. He's in through his own defensive end in between the circles now. We'll see if Toronto can attempt to break out right to left. This is a chance for Mitch Marner with a little zig and zag. He's going to pick this up here for Nylander, and now John Tavares. Tavares lost it. It's a 2-on-1 here. Lindholm cross pass, and that was flubbed down there by Michael Backlund, but that could have been a serious opportunity. But crisis averted there for Toronto, as now they can get going back on their power play in a tie game. Big hit, canceled off the puck. Rasmus Andersson will slap shut this around the inboards as this goes back down to Matt Murray. 6:30 left to go in this third. It's a 4-4 tie. Shots are tied at 25. Rasmus Sandin now to Auston Matthews across that Maple Leaf logo. Leaves it for Tavares. Tavares with the back pass. Maple Leafs are really good at moving this puck on the power play. We'll see if they continue to do so. Sandin set up here for Matthews with a bomb. and that gets stopped by Vladar. But this is kept in by Sandin. Same power play unit's been out there. Marner, all times at time for Nylander, and that got blocked. And now Sandin. Here comes Matthews with the extra pass, looking for a Tavares deflection as this gets out of the zone, but picked up here by William with the half spin. It gets turned over. Andrew Mangiapane off the backhand, still with it now. He's trying to kill some time here. Mangiapane trying to get through a couple of Maple Leafs, but this goes back now to Mark Giordano, former Flame, the captain as well, as this is picked up and dumped down the ice. So one shot in the last power play. Again, it had just 2 minutes on that side, but this is still loose in front. And now Giordano will just chip this down, gloved down by one of the Flames and picked up by Mackenzie Weegar. Mackenzie Weegar will turn back here with Christopher Tanev, who just plays this calmly off the inboards. Good drag ahead, but good interception by David Camp, as Dan Vladar will fight that one off to the left corner as this is worked in between. Now the Flames get this one across the Maple Leaf logo and will take their change as this is catapulted in. It's Nazem Kadri, the one forechecker, trying to be joined in there by Tyler Toffoli. As now this is a chance for the Maple Leafs with a long outstretched pass, and it could be a 3-on-2. Here's a chance off the backhand and a tripping penalty. It's going to be back-to-back power plays for the Maple Leafs with 4:42 in the third.
Always see if this is going to be a penalty shot either, but this is another penalty on Calgary as far as it stands. Joey Andersson, the one who drew that as he was going right into the slot. He goes around Zadorov. Zadorov is trying to slow down Andersson. That's just a boneheaded play by Zadorov, just trying to slow down Andersson as he was driving to the net.
So now the Flames have killed one that we thought would have been 4, but they didn't show that on that side. And then now it's another one against the Flames from Nikita Zadorov for tripping Joey Andersson, like Alec had said. So I was thinking 5-4 that might end up going that way. I thought Toronto might have scored on the first, and now all of a sudden they get another opportunity. And what I was thinking was going to be the game 2 minutes ago might be the game in the next 2 minutes here, Alec. It's been good activity by Toronto of late as far as having that puck possession. We'll see if they can take advantage of these numerous power play chances, as it's been 4 straight penalties here by the Flames, and you just can't do that. It's been too many of them tonight. I want to get my official numbers in front of me because the ESPN box score has a little bit too many. I think it is. Let me look at it right now. It says just 5, but I think it's closer to 7 now as it just updated. So yes, 2 for 7 right now. So 7 power play opportunity upcoming here for the Maple Leafs to just 2 on the other side for the Flames.
Here we go with this. This could pretty much determine the game here, considering the Leafs have been having power play opportunity after power play opportunity throughout this game. They converted on 2 of those out of 5 chances, those 2 coming in the first period. Let's see if we can get something here for the first power play goal since William Nylander tied it at 2.
So Tyler Toffoli's in the box. You still have the other situation here. So with the offsetting, that's what's confusing me. With the offsetting penalties here, that's why it's just a one-man power play here for Toronto, because you had some roughing stuff before that and behind with bunting. So 2 for 4 on the power play, but again, that's got to be updated on the Sportsnet side. They have about 7 of these. So this gets dumped down the ice, but it's not clear to Sandin. Get a chance to take a quick breath off the commercial break. Weegar will play this off the backhand, and the Flames will get it down, but not all the way down. This is just in the neutral zone right now. Auston Matthews get a chance to get an entry here. It's a 4-4 game with about 4:15 left. Joining here on play-by-play from Scotiabank Arena, joined by Alec Nava doing the color here tonight. I'm very thankful for that, as it's been a fun contest. It's a chance for Matthews, and that one goes just wide with the help of Nylander. That was a serious bullet off the 1T that went wide. And now Rasmus Sandin will try this one more time. I feel like it's only a matter of time here, Alec, in the sense of Toronto's look dangerous. Here's Marner, gets the entry, drops it for Tavares near the left side dot. They play crisscross on defense. Nylander looking for a tip out in front. It's dangerous here for Matthews. What a stop by Vladar as he holds on to it with 3:38 in third.
Oh, that mad scramble Tavares is trying to go after that puck in front. Vladar was the awareness trying to deny Toronto any chance of taking the lead, and he did just that and kept us at a tie game. As we see here, William Nylander fired the initial shot just wide of the net, and then Matthews, another great opportunity. Vladar tried to get that one to glove. It ended up right under him, right at the pad, as Tavares was trying to get the loose rebound run, but Vladar heading strong in net as Toronto opts to call a timeout.
So with Toronto's timeout, I think we can all say it. You go ahead and you bring up that same line. You have Matthews, you have Nylander, you have Tavares. I don't think there really is any stretch of the imagination what Sheldon Keefe wants to do. As you're looking at Jacob Markstrom and Dan Vladar having a serious conversation with each other. This has been a great game on both sides here, Alec. I really don't know what to say as far as some of the offense. Maybe for Calgary, it's where has this come from over the stretch of games? And for Toronto, it's kind of been all business per usual as they've looked lethal throughout.
Very much, and considering Calgary's disappointing road record, this is needed from them. If it goes to overtime, I wouldn't be surprised, but if I'm Calgary, I would want to get a win out of this one badly.
We'll see if they can do so now. Drop pass here, Sandin for Matthews as they go D to D. Here's a chance. Tavares set it up, Nylander, and the slapper goes just wide. This goes back now across the red line as William Nylander will check up. Toronto's got the puck in their own defensive end as this goes to Auston Matthews, trying to get right to Nylander. Right in the center of the slot, had to be sticked aside by Vladar, as that was a kind of a wicked wrister on the move. And now Toronto working their way out the backhand. Vladar with a great save and holds, dropped the stick in the process, but he was able to freeze the puck. He's been pretty good over the last couple minutes here, Alec.
Oh my, it feels like Tavares just went down right after that play, and after all that contact that went through. Vladar just clicking onto that right post on that last stop. And once again, turning away Toronto on any chance that they have of tying this game up. Matthews on around the boards, Tavares right at the slot, just trying to jam in that puck. But Vladar, once again, just clinging on to dear life.
Yes, he was. I think he's been solid over the last few minutes, and that's what you needed to have. Calgary needs to get this play on the other end, but the only way they can do that is by stop going to the box. But on a 3-on-3 situation, if we do get to it, I don't know how you match up with that personnel right now when you have any of that for Toronto's side. They can be dangerous. So this goes down the ice. Calgary does get their kill, but this might be at the expense of another change coming the other way. As this is picked up now by the Leafs. Leafs got it through the neutral zone. They'll just get this across the red line now. Vladar will play this with the goal stick. He's got it now near the right side dot. This gets turned over. It's a 3-on-2 the other way. The Leafs with the 2. Kerfoot into the screen. That was a good screen in front set up by Toronto. And now they might have something here. David Kampf will circle around with some help as this goes back to Toronto. Here's a chance now as they pivot and reverse a couple times. Into the traffic, humongous rebound. But this is canceled by the right side of the post. And I can't believe that didn't go in. Dylan Dubé gets worked off the puck by Zach Aston Reese as an elbowing. It's the other way, but that is not called. Thankfully for the Calgary side, Nazem Kadri will watch this one go just fine. Noah Hannafin trying to collect. And now this could be a cross pass right in the middle of the slot, but it was canceled by the Flames before it ever had that opportunity. A couple active stick battles. Andrew Mangiapane going to take no chances. He's going to go ahead and take his change. Blake Coleman, Rasmus Sandin, now picked up by the Maple Leafs. We'll chip this one ahead. Noah Hannafin going to try to get to it as he beat William Nylander to the puck, but the Leafs with the active forecheck. Sheldon Keefe's got to like that now as we've been $1:20 left to go in this 4-4 game. Bunting waiting on the off wing. He's not going to set the screen, but now he is, as Matthews also back there as well. But his pass from Bunting just went a little wide as he wanted to rip that one. He just couldn't find it. Now into the neutral zone as we got about a minute remaining. Here's number 34, Auston Matthews with the toe drag. It's canceled off the puck. Picked up now by Elias Lindholm. Lindholm with a long wrist shot. It goes back to him near the right side of the red line as Matthews comes all the way back to go ahead and pick this one up. It's busy in behind the office of Matt Murray. He's going to drop this here from Mark Giordano. Giordano with an outstretched pass. It bounces off one of the Maple Leafs. Good active stick check by the Flames, but they got to be careful with the counter. Here's Mitch Marner. It's 1-on-4. Drop pass. Gets collected. And now the Flames have it. It's 30 seconds left to go. Here's a race for Lindholm trying to draw a penalty, but he can't do it as this goes between the neutral zone. Collected now by the Leafs. Has to get picked up by Rasmus Andersson and now spun back. Huberdeau worked off the puck as this goes back to the Leafs. Leafs will hold. About 10 seconds left to go in this third. We'll see if they'll just play for overtime or get one more rush. Outstretched pass off the embankment. Dan Vladar. It's going to be an icing. So this is an opportunity, Alec. You get 5 seconds on the third period. It's pretty much as simple as win this one back and get a shot, is it not?
Oh, yeah. And most recently, we might just see some of the best chances that Toronto has had of taking this lead. Alex Carfoot's so close to that. And then on the other side, Elias Lindholm trying to draw the penalty, but a good poke check by Justin Hall to strip him of the puck on that grade A chance, as Calgary has his one last chance.
They had one last shot that went off the left side of the post, middle of the slot, but they ran out of time. So, as it is, it's our first game here together, and I think it's been a good, fun broadcast between both of us. And again, I appreciate you on here. We're going to overtime, so I think that's about as good as you and I could ask for here between these two teams.
Man, I love overtime. No matter if it's 3-on-3 overtime or if it's playoff overtime, I'm asking for the best here.
So, if I ask you to go ahead and give me a winner on both sides, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking Toronto, probably on a power play, and give me Auston Matthews.
Auston Matthews for Toronto, and what about for Calgary? Who would be your winner?
If I were to pick one from Calgary, I'd say, you see here, as I try to pull this up on this. It's been a good game this far, and so far, Noah Hannafin has scored twice, but I don't know if he'll get the winner. If there's anyone that I picked to get the winner here, I'll say Andrew Mangiapane.
All right, I like those. I'm going to go ahead and say John Tavares, and I'll go ahead and say, what the hell, let's throw more fuel to the fire. How about Nazem Kadri for the Maple Leafs? Give me all the smoke on that one. Wouldn't that be a sight?
Man.
So we'll see what ends up. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll see about what this holds. But one time I think Kadri had the overtime winner. That was all the way back in Game 4 of last year's Stanley Cup final. that game ended in awkward fashion, almost like when Patrick Kane scored the Cup winner in 2010.
I remember being on that call with Cooper Hopkins, and I had to call. I wasn't even sure the puck was in, and it was stuck on the top of the inside of the net.
I thought Vasilevsky had that at
Me
first.
too. Yeah, I remember that one very well, and then we'll see if it ends up happening right now. But again, I'm just trying to add more fuel to the fire here because if Nazem Kadri does score this one, I think you're already tearing the roof off of Scotiabank Arena right now in this wonderful game. And who knows what happens here. So it's a 4-4 game. It could be a shootout, but I think with the offensive personnel that the Maple Leafs can present to you on the ice, regardless of the playoff success or thereabouts or without, I think they have the best offensive personnel in the league. But we'll find out right now. This should be a good one. As we get, an unfair puck drop or a penalty right off the onset? Jonathan Huberdeau looks unhappy.
I don't know what's going on back there, but 3 seconds in, we might. There's a discussion here. Darryl Sutter shaking his head after all that. We'll see what this is all about.
This is a penalty against the Calgary Flames. I think this is Jonathan Huberdeau. He hit him in the
it's a high
face.
stick.
He hit Rasmus Sandin right in the mouth, right off the draw in overtime. Oh my goodness. That is the last thing you would ask for if you're Calgary. I can't believe it. We've seen so many crazy things in this broadcast. If we went through a full post game here, Alec, I bet we could list about 10 things in this whole game that would make people's heads spin.
And you talk about the boneheaded penalties that Calgary's taking here. This is another one of those. Toronto 2 for 5 on the power play. They have not scored on the man advantage. This is the first year. We'll see if they get it done here.
Slap shot. That one goes off the inboards. It's a 4-on-3 man advantage in OT. and it'll go back to 4-4 until we get a puck stoppage if Calgary can kill this one. So Matthews, Nylander personnel on the ice. It's Mitch Marner now, and behind the office of Vladar, casual setup. Vladar makes the save off the Auston Matthews one-timer, so Calgary can breathe a little bit, but it's still $1:34 left to go in this sudden death OT. If not, we have a shootout.
Oh man, so there was this first one-timer by Matthews that went in wide and hit the end boards, but that was so close to getting right into beating in Blader's glove side. Here's Nylander.
So now Marner gets this one back in the high slot, looking for a screen, scores! If it is, this is Marner's goal. I know Tavares was on the doorstep, but it doesn't matter. The Maple Leafs take this one in OT, 5-4.
And you talk about this all the time. It's a bonehead of penalties by Calgary that they've been taking all game. And if there's one side that's going to win this on a power play, it's Toronto.
Yes.
They have one of the most lethal power plays in the league, and they get it done here. As they're all hugging each other out right at the post-game celebration. We'll see whose goal this is, but it was Marner's shot that beats Vladar. See, off the face-off. Mitch Marner grabs this, hands it off for William Nylander. Nylander watching his options, gets it right back to Marner. As he waits, the initial shot blocked, he gets his own rebound, and he puts it right past Vladar. The initial shot blocked by Chris Tannen, but that left a juicy rebound right in front. And Marner, who just extended his point streak in 22 games, he ends it here.
What a contest we had in this Hockey Night in Canada opener. Alec, it's been so much fun. I appreciate you being with me here on this broadcast, and I hope we get to do another one of these soon. Thank you so much for joining me throughout this whole thing.
Hey, thank you too, man.
So it's a 5-4 final. Mitch Marner finishes it off, and we will talk to you guys next week. Peace out.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you guys for following along on the YouTube side. I was supposed to get Cooper Hopkins in with me, but I was kind enough to have Alec Nava join me here to do this broadcast, so he was doing some of the play-by-play. I hope all that stuff went in there and it went through. That was an excellent game. I know if it was who am I rooting for, that's what Dragon D was asking me. I would probably go for the Flames just because my boss partner Cooper Hopkins, I've been working with him for a long time. He was not able to join with me. We tried to circle this on the calendar as much as we could, but we ended up getting a good action game anyway. So I would normally say Flames, but holy crap, was that an excellent game here tonight. And I was really glad to be able to cover that one. So again, full coverage is going to be at the website, hopelesssportsguy.wordpress.com. That's where I do all the play-by-play game stories. We'll get a little bit of editing there, as there's been a little bit of issues there with some of the audio stuff. But we'll figure that out. I'll get all that squared away. It'll be posted on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll link that in with the story as we link it out tonight. Good night, everybody. We'll talk to you next weekend. Peace.